All right. Thanks for that, Arafat, for recording. So we're going to dive into our session today. And today's session would be exciting as usual. I'll be getting a little bit detailed in showing you where and how to apply to jobs, high-paying jobs for those of you in the UK and across other regions, but most especially for those of you in the UK. So if you know you've been applying to jobs, you've had multiple applications this month, last month, but you keep getting rejections, or you're looking for visa sponsored jobs, jobs that come with sponsorship, and you really can't, and the time on your visa is running out. How do you land a job? Or you want to get a promotion, transition into a new career path. How do you navigate the space? And that's what our session today would center around. All right. So I'm going to dive right into it. And I want you to invite anyone you know would benefit or could benefit from today's session. If you have a friend, a cousin, a brother, a family member, a colleague in the office, someone you know would benefit from today's session, get them into the session today. All right. So let's dive in. Let's dive right into our session. And we're going to have an amazing time. I promise you that. With the next 1.5 to 2 hours, I would show you, you would know exactly the mistakes you are making and the changes you need to make in order to position yourself for that next job, especially for those of you that want to land jobs in 2026. So our topic today is, okay, I'm just going to share my slide and then we'll get right into it. So our topic today is how and where to find jobs with visa sponsorship. Again, especially for those in the UK looking to land a job, what should you consider? What are the key considerations? What career path are most important for you or would give you the opportunity and unlock that access for you? All right. So why are we here today? So I'm going to dive into the reason why we are here, the group of people we have on the call today. So we have different categories of people here. We have people who are currently on their post-study visa, or you are a dependent in the UK, and you're simply watching the months on your visa count down, and you haven't gotten a job with sponsorship. And that's the story of this lady right here. Okay, her name is Deborah or Deborah, depending on how you want to pronounce it. That's Deborah's story. Deborah had to move back to Nigeria from the UK. And while I was watching this video, I stumbled on the video on YouTube I think last month or thereabouts, or in January. And some things stood out to me on Deborah's story. She made a lot of mistakes. And I'm going to highlight some of the mistakes she made that led her not getting a job before she had to leave the UK. She had to leave the UK back to Nigeria. And a lot of people are currently in that same situation. Some of you are currently switching jobs. You're moving from warehouse jobs, retail jobs, customer service, and you're from healthcare. You're trying to transition into the tech ecosystem. For some of you, you feel you are qualified and you have the skills. You have skills in certain areas. However, you keep getting rejections when you put in applications. So what's the problem and why are you getting rejections? And for some of you here on the call today, you are simply exhausted mentally and emotionally. All right. You don't know what to do. You want to transition, but you don't know how to start. And the scariest part in all of this is you are not sure if what you are doing is even right. Am I doing the correct thing or is what I'm doing wrong? Am I right or wrong? That's the most scary part. Okay. So today I'll be showing you a couple of things to unlock opportunities that gives people jobs every single day. Okay. But I want us to watch Deborah's story. I'll play the first 2 minutes. It's a 35 minutes, vlog, but I'll play the first 2 minutes. So you get to listen to Deborah. And I'm going to point out some of the things she did that she could have done better in order to land the job. Okay. So let's go to Deborah's story very quickly. Let's listen to Deborah for the next 2 minutes, and then I'll come back. I'll show you exactly what you need to do so you don't find yourself in this same situation. All right. So just sit back, relax, Enjoy the first 2 minutes of Deborah's story, and then I'll come back to continue the session.
Today is my last day in the United Kingdom.
We are waiting for you. You can now reject our own. Mama.
So a little over 3 years ago, you guys watched me get my visa to the UK. You saw me pack my life in suitcases and travel across continents to go study in the United Kingdom. You saw me go to school on my first day. You saw me try to adjust as an immigrant and life in the UK, even down to my graduation. But what you didn't see was how close I was to losing everything that I was trying to build, and that is a part of my story that didn't make it on camera. At some point I stopped counting, but I made approximately 3,000 job applications and I went on 24 interviews in the search of a sponsored job. 24 interviews and none of them worked out. I just never clicked. And God help me. I applied to jobs like my life depended on it. I tailored every CV, every cover letter for each role across different sectors. I tried to pivot, I tried to make myself fit. And somewhere along the way, I hit a point of mental exhaustion. This became my wallpaper, not as a joke. People thought it was a joke when I used this as my profile picture on WhatsApp. But it was an honest reflection of my mental state. I was exhausted. And so when I realized I was running out of time, I made the hardest decision that I'd been avoiding. And I booked my flight home.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it right there, okay? Just the first 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do at the end of today's session is I'll share my slide with you. I'll share all the materials, everything I have today, but you make sure you fill the attendance so you don't miss out on anything I'll be sharing. Now, if you listen to Deborah, the first 2 minutes, she said she applied to 3,000 jobs. She got 24 interviews and none of them worked out. It's mind-boggling. 3,000 job applications, 24 interviews, none of them worked out. But one major mistake that she made is she only chased the visa sponsorship roles. Okay? And it's a big mistake a lot of people make. I'm only going to apply to jobs that come with visa sponsorship. All right. So when you do that, you limit yourself to the number of opportunities available to you. There are thousands of people that have gotten sponsorship, but at the point where they applied to the job did not state anything sponsorship. It was a normal job that anybody would apply to, and they got sponsorship eventually. And I'll tell you and show you exactly how they did it. So that's mistake number one for Deborah. You can't chase only visa sponsorship jobs. You would fall flat. That's a losing strategy. That's number one. Number two, which is a common mistake I see a lot of people make as well, is she stayed in the UK for 3 years. It's practically impossible. Okay, so I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's practically impossible to stay in the UK for 3 years and you don't get a proper job. And the reason why this would have happened is a lot of people wait until maybe she's gone to the UK for her master's, like she said. You wait until you are done with your master's before you start thinking about the job market, before you start thinking about the type of jobs I can apply to, before you realize that you need to upskill. That's a bloody mistake. It's a big mistake. Pardon my French. Okay. So a lot of people wait until they get to their post-study visa. You have 2 years on your post-study visa and you don't start applying even while you're at the beginning of your post-study visa until you have a few months left. So these are just two major mistakes I noticed from the video, and I'm going to show you a couple of things you need to take note of today. So one thing I'll show you today is how to identify the career path that would land you sponsorship within the space of 6 to 8 months. You can't apply to 3,000 jobs and not get a job. The reason why that would happen is because you are probably in a career path that is not high in demand. All right. I'm going to show you how to identify those career paths that are high in demand and also eligible for sponsorship. And how can you identify them and get into one of those areas within the space of 6 to 8 months? I'll show you how to learn the skills required to land the jobs. Because when you see different career paths, how you learn also matters a whole lot. There are a lot of professionals that have certificates here and there, PMP, CBAP, so many certifications. However, they can't do the job. They've never done the job before because they learned the wrong way. And I've been there myself. I've made a couple of mistakes and I'll share my own journey as I move on. Okay. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have all the certifications in the world, you have a master's, you probably graduated with a distinction, and you think that would give you an advantage, you're making a big mistake. And that's probably some of the mistakes that Deborah made. Okay. I'd also show you how to gain the experience. And I can't overemphasize how important this is. Experience. Employers don't care about what you have, what you said, what you say you can do. They only care about what you've done. They want to see evidence that you can do the job for them because you've done it before. So how do you gain experience even though you've not gotten a job yet? Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. And finally, I'll show you how to start today. So for those of you that want to start, I'll show you exactly what to do to get started. All right. So what you want to do before we dive into the main meat is take away all distractions, ensure you have a pen and a notepad. Take things down, make a note of the questions you have. We'll have a Q&A before we call it a day today. And I'm sure you will get a whole lot of insights into what you're doing wrong and what you should start doing to enable you land a job. So for those of you meeting us for the first time, who are we and what are we all about? All right. For us at Tenalytics, we are the leading educational technology company focused on helping people transition and land high-paying jobs within the tech ecosystem. All right. We are based in Alberta, Canada, and also in London in the UK. We operate out of these two regions. And in London, in the UK, we operate using our sister company, Amdari. Amdari is a sister company to Tenalytics. That's where you're going to gain your internship. So when you learn with Tenalytics, you gain internship with Amdari. And I'm going to explain a whole lot of that as we move on today. So we operate out of Alberta, Canada, out of London in the UK. Over the last 5 years, we've helped over 4,000 people to transition, people that had no knowledge, no experience in tech or data. We help them transition to land their very first jobs within the tech ecosystem. We helped accountants become financial analysts. We helped nurses become healthcare reporting analysts. We helped bankers become business analysts, data analysts, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to share a couple of success stories as we move on. We have 172 full-time employees cutting across the globe. We have employees working out of London in the UK, Manchester in the UK, Alberta in Canada, Lagos in Nigeria, Accra in Ghana, and so on and so forth. And access to over 300 plus industry experts. And these are the professionals that will be ensuring that you have a smooth transition as you make your way from where you are currently to a new career path within the tech ecosystem. And the areas we focus on are within data analytics, health tech, business analysis, data engineering, cybersecurity, agile project management, product design, and so on and so forth. All right. And for me, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience cutting across data analytics and management consulting. Just like so many of you, my first degree was in industrial chemistry. I did not study anything related to tech, nothing related to technology, but I transitioned into a data analytics role. I'm the founder of Tenalytics and the co-founder of Amdari. And using these two platforms, we've helped over 4,000 people like you make that jump from where you are to a career path within the tech ecosystem. I currently work as a data analytics and data engineering contractor in Canada. I've worked in as a data science consultant. I've lived and I've worked in the UK as a data science consultant. I've worked remotely for companies in the US back when I was in Nigeria. I've worked with one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst, management information systems analyst. I've worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC in the financial services sector, owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. My experience span across 5 different sectors, and I'll be sharing my experience as we move on today. I also transitioned. I moved from financial services to energy to automobile. I moved from management consulting to data analytics. How did I do it? So we're going to get into the how. How can you land a visa sponsor job? How can you land a job that is high paying? How do you move from where you are currently to a job that gives you the things you want, to work remotely, work hybrid, high paying job, get the visa sponsorship that I want, and so on and so forth. And I'll call this your visa sponsorship roadmap. Okay. So one of the first things you want to do, and this is where you start taking notes in coming up with your roadmap. Number one, what you want to do is get into a high demand career path. It's a no-brainer. It goes without saying. Why would you apply to 3,000 jobs, go to 24 interviews, and you can't land a job? That simply means you're in a career path that is not high in demand. Employers are not looking for you. So when you get into a high demand career path, first of all, you make getting the job 10 times easier because you get into a career path that employers are actively searching for candidates. So take, for example, you currently work in the warehouse, or you currently work in customer service, you work in retail. These are career paths that are not high in demand. If you want to land a job, you want to look at career path within data analytics, data science, business analysis, and so on and so forth. So that's number one, get into a high demand career path. And how do you do that? So one of the things we do every single year is we scrape data from the major job boards, from LinkedIn, CV Library, UK Visa Jobs, Indeed, Glassdoor, and so on and so forth. And what we do is to identify the career path that are high in demand. Okay, so what career path are employers recruiting for today? So we identify this career path that have a high frequency of job vacancies. Okay, and we take that, we look at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. And this is a report that shows you the career path that are growing in demand and the career path that are declining in demand. So you don't just want to get into a career path because you see it's, with a high frequency on a job board. You want to also know globally, if I decide today to leave the UK, to move to Canada, to move to the US, which a lot of people are doing anyways, and they get to Canada and realize that, oh, the same problem I have in the UK, I have that same problem in Canada, which is getting a job. And because I don't have skills, I'm not in a career path that is high in demand, I would still struggle to land a job. Okay, so the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report, the latest one was released in January 2025, last year. It's released every 2 years. So the next would come in January, February 2027. It shows you the career path that would grow and those that would decline. So we looked at that. And we also looked at the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. And we came up with 7 non-coding career paths. And I'm emphasizing on non-coding. Okay, so these are career paths that are brilliant and good for those who are getting started. You don't want to learn how to code in your 40s. You don't want to learn how to do technical, writing scripts, writing Python codes, and so on and so forth in your, mid 30s or late 30s. You want to get into a career path that does not require coding. And for anybody starting from the ground, you can get into that area. So these are non-coding career paths, and there are 7 of them that you want to get into, you want to pivot into, transition into, if you want to land a job fast and jobs that come with visa sponsorship. And number 1 is business analysis. data analytics, healthcare data analytics or health tech, agile project manager role, the HR analyst role, the financial analyst role, and last but not the least is the product designer role. Now, what I've also done for you is to list the occupation codes right here. You see the codes that show you that these are career paths that are eligible for the skilled worker visa. Okay. And I'm going to get into the gov.uk websites. I'll show you how this works, and then you can go do this yourself at your own convenience. But remember, the links to all the platforms I'll be sharing with you today, they're all on my slide. The gov.uk website, we're going to use this link to get there, but it's publicly available. I'll share the link with you in my slide, but make sure you fill the attendance form. Okay, very important. So if you click on this link, it's going to take you to the gov.uk website. Okay, and let's look at a couple of career paths. So I'm going to click on that link. It takes me to the gov.uk skilled worker visa eligible occupations and codes. Okay, so here I can see the occupation codes, the job type, the related job titles, and I can tell if these career paths are eligible for the skilled worker visa or not. Now, let's take one of the roles we've seen, the business analyst. Okay, so let's check out the business analyst role, 2135 2421. Okay, so I'm going to go to the business analyst and I'll simply look for what? 2135. So I'm going to scroll all the way down. 213. That's 21. Okay, so that's 2133. That's the IT business analyst role. Okay, 2135 is cybersecurity. So 2133, the IT business analyst role. And what do you get to see right here? The business analyst. So if I'm a business analyst today, what does that mean? It means that I'm in a career path that is eligible for the skilled worker visa. Very important. And let's check out another career path. Let's check for the agile project manager. Okay, 2131 agile project manager. And you'd see the agile project managers as what? IT project managers. IT project managers, 2131. These are the agile project manager role. We can also check 2440. I'm going to scroll all the way down. You have all these codes. Okay, so I'm going to share the codes with you at the end of today's session. So 2440, you'd also see project management professionals. Project management professionals. These are also agile project manager roles. Financial analysts, 2422. So if we scroll all the way up to 2422, you'd see the finance and investment analysts. These are the financial analysts. Okay, the data analysts, 2133, 2433, and so on and so forth. The data analyst 2433, for example, you'd have the data analysts that are classified under actuaries and statisticians. Okay, you have roles that are classified under 2433. You have data analyst roles that are also classified as 2431. Okay, and I'm going to show you how. 2431. Now, when you do data analytics, you can land a job as a BI analyst, as a business intelligence analyst. You can land a job as a BI developer, even though you've done data analytics. And I'll show you how to check using this same website. Okay, so if I go to the occupation tool by the gov.uk and I type, I've done data analytics. I know how to use Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau, and all of that. Now I want to get sponsorship, but I want to apply to different other roles, not just the data analyst role. I want to apply to roles as a BI analyst, business intelligence analyst. I want to apply to roles as a BI developer, and so on and so forth. So what do? I'll simply go to this coding tool and I'll type business intelligence analyst. And what I'm trying to see here is I want to see the occupation code and check if it is eligible for sponsorship. All right. So I come in there and I click on code to see the occupation code. And you can see that right here, 2431. And the score is 84, which means to a high level of certainty. A BI analyst role would fall under the 2431 code. And that's the 2431 you have right here. Okay, 2431. All right. So what I've done is I've kept all the codes for you. And you can check this career path. The product designer can be classified as UI UX under 2141, for example. I'm going to take you there very quickly. 2141, you'd see the website design professionals, UI UX designers. These are your product designers. So all these career paths are eligible for the skilled worker visa. They are eligible because they are high in demand. They are eligible and they're high in demand because employers are actively searching for these roles. So this is number one. The first thing you must do is get into a career path that is high in demand. Once you've done this, it gives you the opportunity to compete for the best jobs available and also land a job very fast. All right. So I can see a lot of activities in the chat. I'm going to take questions before we wrap up our session. We'll have a Q&A, but I want you to type into the chat, looking at these 7 career paths. Which of these career paths would you want to get into? The business analyst role, the healthcare data analyst role, the HR analyst, data analyst, agile project manager, financial analyst, product designer. Type into the chat. Faturoti says business analyst. Rufus, DA, fantastic. Franklin, data analyst, absolutely phenomenal. Let's get more feedback. ON says already in DA, fantastic. Healthcare data analyst, fantastic career path. It's a phenomenal career path to be in healthcare. And that's simply because the NHS is one of the highest recruiter of talents in the UK, for example, and so many other healthcare organizations, healthcare insurance companies, healthcare agencies, health tech organizations. So if you find yourself in a career path in health tech, you can rest assured that you will land a job in the fastest and the shortest time possible. Okay, Izine says project management, absolutely. And that's exactly what Sharon did. Sharon joined our business analysis program last year in March 2025. She was a healthcare assistant at the time she joined. Sharon had no experience in data, no experience in tech. Today, Sharon is a business data analyst, and she did it in under 3 months. So she came to our business analysis program in March 2025. We tailored her CV for her. She joined all the mentorship sessions. She got strategies on how to apply to jobs, where to apply. We sent her jobs to apply. She built a portfolio. Okay, a lot of you don't know what a portfolio looks like or what a portfolio is and why it's important, but I'll show you today. It was critical to Sharon landing this job. She applied to roles and also applied to roles internally within the NHS because she worked as a healthcare assistant. So she also applied to jobs within the NHS. But in May 2025, just 3 months after joining the business analysis program, Sharon was able to transition from a healthcare assistant to a business data analyst. And she still had sponsorship. So Sharon's transformation is proof that when you have a targeted strategy, you don't just depend on the years of experience from your previous career path. You know the right career path to get into, and it opens doors for you. And that was exactly what Sharon did within the space of 3 months. Sharon is Kenyan. She moved to the UK, worked as a healthcare assistant. Today, she's a business data analyst on sponsorship. You have Ikmat. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom for over 2 years. Today, Ikmat is an information analyst with the NHS. Ikmat joined data analytics. Sharon joined business analysis. Ikmat joined data analytics. She had a 2-year employment gap because she had stayed at home to take care of her kid. She just gave birth. She was on maternity leave and so on, but she took time to take care of her kid. But she wanted to get back into the job market. She had registered to study masters in public health in the UK. But when she looked at the jobs on different job boards, she realized that the jobs require the use of Excel. They require the use of Power BI. They require the use of SQL. And she wasn't learning that during her master's. So what she decided to do was join our data analytics program to upskill. And again, this is the mistake. The video I played earlier, Deborah, who couldn't land a job, the lady on YouTube that couldn't get a job and had to go back to Nigeria. She waited until she completed her master's before she started applying aggressively. Ikmat did not make that mistake. Ikmat was still undergoing her master's when she joined our data analytics program. And in January 2024, after multiple interview preparations, multiple applications, Ikmat landed a job with the Sussex Community NHS Foundation Trust as an information analyst. And it came with full visa sponsorship because Ikmat was very clear. I want to get a job that comes with sponsorship. Same with Toyin. Toyin was a pharmacist back in Nigeria. She moved to the UK. Today, Toyin is a pharmacy data analyst, also with the NHS. So she worked as a pharmacist in Nigeria. She moved to the UK. She joined and applied to multiple health tech roles. She joined our data analytics program. We showed her where to apply, how to apply. She tailored every application. And for every interview she had and did not get the job, she got a feedback. And one of the things we always do, we tell our candidates to do is, if your interview is virtual, you record yourself. Push the record button when the interview starts. Record the interview. So when you send that audio to us, we review the audio, we hear the questions, we hear your feedback to them, and we know exactly what to correct for your next interview. Toyin did all of that, and Toyin was able to land her first job with the NHS as a benefits analyst. Then she moved from a benefits analyst role to a pharmacy data analyst role with the same NHS Business Authority. And Toyin was able to do this within the space of about 2 months. And then you have Ramat. Ramat was a customer service rep in the UK. She worked with British Gas as a customer service rep. But she wanted more. She knew that she couldn't get sponsorship as a customer service representative. She couldn't get a high-paying job as a customer service rep. There was a ceiling on how high she could grow on that role. So she made it, she decided and made the decision to transition into a high-paying career path, a career path that would enable her get visa sponsorship. So she joined our business analysis program. She tailored her CV, joined the internship, the mentorship. We prepped her for multiple interviews. And I'm going to play Ramat's video for you. Okay, so everybody I'm sharing with you so far created videos to tell their story. They shared exactly what they did to transition, how they transitioned, what made the difference for them. I can't play all the videos here, but I'll play a couple. So you listen to them and you learn exactly what they were able to do. Ramat today is a business architect with the NHS in the UK. And she got this 2.5 to 3 months after joining the program. She moved from customer service to business architect with the NHS. And there's so many other professionals. And I'm showing ladies deliberately. I've shown Sharon, I've shown Ikmat, I've shown Toyin, and I've shown Ramat. And I'm going to show a whole lot more. And I'm specifically showing the ladies. And at the end of the session, you know the reason why, as a lady on this call, you need to transition. You need to get into career path that would enable you land the job the fastest. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll share the journey of these professionals. So we're going to go on LinkedIn very quickly. Okay. We'll look at their profile and I want to highlight a couple of things that they did right, so you can also learn from it. Let's start with Ramat. Ramat. One of the first things you'd see when you get to Ramat's LinkedIn profile is you'd realize that she knows exactly, you can tell the exact career path Ramat is in by just looking at a headline, okay? NHS business architect, BA coach and mentor, and so on and so forth. And something you'd see here is you both worked at Tenalytics. I'll tell you why this is very important. So if you go to Ramat's journey, you'd see where she was a customer resolution agent with British Gas before she joined us in our business analysis program. So when you join us, you don't join as a student, you join as a contractor, as a consultant. What does this mean? It helps position you. So before she applied to this job, anybody, any recruiter, any hiring manager would have seen that Ramat had worked with Tenalytics as a business analyst consultant. And that was what helped Ramat land this job as a business architect with the Midlands Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust. This is Ramat's story. Same with Ikmat. Ikmat, another amazing lady, again, information analyst with the NHS. You both worked at Tenalytics and so on and so forth. If you go to our profile, data analyst with Tenalytics. This is positioning, showing recruiters that you are not a beginner, you are not a newbie. You've done this, you know how to use the tools and technologies, and you've used them at Tenalytics. So because I'm showing you what I've done, I'm not telling you what I can do. They believe and trust that you know how to do the job simply because, yes, you have done that job. So this is positioning, which is also very important. And this helped Ikmat to land a job as an information analyst with the Sussex Community NHS Foundation Trust. Again, any recruiter in the UK would want to do a background check. You want to get a job as an information analyst. It requires the use of Excel, the use of SQL. Where have you used Excel and SQL? Show me, tell me about a time you've used these technologies to solve a problem. You want to show that you've done it somewhere before. And the NHS would reach out to get a reference and be sure that, yes, you know how to use these tools. Ikmat can, perform the duties and the responsibilities of an information analyst. And that's why the positioning is absolutely important. Okay. And so on and so forth. You have Toyin. You go to Toyin's profile as well. Toyin is a pharmacy data analyst. She got her very first job when she completed her program with us as a benefit analyst. And last year, February, she moved to the role of a pharmacy data analyst with the NHS Foundation Trust, also in the UK. So the career path you choose is extremely important to you landing a job. And we always brag and we tell people that we have about 122 alumni working with the NHS. And they work with the NHS as data analysts, information analysts, business architects, pathology data analysts, and so many other roles like that. So you want to get into a career path where you compete for the best jobs available. Once you've decided, just like you've highlighted in the chart, I want to do project management, I want to do HR analytics, business analysis, and so on and so forth. Once you've gotten and determined that this is what I want to do, the next step is to learn those skills. So how do you learn the skills? How do you become a data analyst and get a job as an information analyst, as a pharmacy data analyst? Or you want to become a business analyst? How do you get a job as a business architect, as a business data analyst? How do you get those jobs? How you learn matters a whole lot. And a lot of people ignore this, okay? And some of the mistakes a lot of people make is they try to learn by watching videos. I've been there myself and I've made those mistakes. I had 1,001 courses on Udemy. I never finished. 1,001 on Coursera. I never finished. All right. So I'll be showing you the mistakes you are making and the best way for you to learn in a way that you know how to do the job on day one. If you look at Ramat's profile, she's been on that role for almost, Tony has been on this role for about 1 year, 2 months. Ramat has been on a role for about 2 years or thereabouts. 2 years, 6 months, 2.5 years. Ikmat has been on a role for about, almost 2 years as well. This shows that they didn't get the job and they lost the job because they couldn't do the job. They knew how to do the job on day one when they got the job. So how did they learn? How did they know how to do the job before they even got the job? I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. So some of the fears a lot of people have is, I'm switching careers. I don't know if I can get sponsorship. I've worked in the banking industry back in Nigeria. I'm doing a master's in project management, or I'm doing a master's in data analytics or data science. I don't know if I can get sponsorship. Employers don't sponsor you based on your background. They sponsor you based on your competence. And your competence comprises of your skills and your experience. So you must learn the skills the right way to know how to do the job and gain the experience to show them that you've done this job and you're the best candidate for the role. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. Okay. For some of you, the confusion is, I don't have UK experience. If you don't have UK experience, it's going to be a big problem for you because you can't convince a UK employer. You can't convince a NatWest, a Cognizant, NHS, so many organizations that you've done this job before. You want to get a job in the organization as a data analyst, as a project manager, but you don't have UK experience. So how do you show that you have experience? Just like Ikmat was able to show that she had experience, just like Ramat was able to show that she had experience. How do you show that you have experience? And how do you defend the experience? By knowing how to do the job. Projects can create experience for you, and you can gain UK experience with Amdari and Tenalytics. So Tenalytics while you are learning, and Amdari for your internship. And I'm going to show you how to do that practically. And what the third fear a lot of you have is, my visa is expiring soon. If you're in this category, your visa is expiring soon. Now is the best time to get started. The closer you are to your visa expiry, the more focused your strategy should be. You must have a focused strategy on exactly how you want to get that job, how you put in your application, the type of organizations you apply to, and you have to start now. All right. So now that you know the career path you want to join, you've decided, I want to go for healthcare data analytics. I want to go for financial analytics, business analysis, and so on, project management. How do you learn the skill? The best way to learn is, number one, you learn in a project-based environment. And this simply means learning by doing the job. So if you want to become a data analyst, you must learn by doing the job of a data analyst. If you want to become a project manager, you must learn by doing the job of a project manager. If you want to become a HR analyst, you must learn by doing the job of a HR analyst. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that. And when you've learned in that way, you learn by doing the work. It starts to form part of your experience. And when you have that experience, you must showcase your work. Because nobody knows you. Nobody knows how good you are. But you must show the world the quality of the projects you've done, what you can do, how good you are, and showcase yourself to the whole world by building a portfolio. This is the best way to learn. And this is number 2 of your roadmap. Number 1 is identify the high demand career path. Number 2 is learn the right way. How you learn determines if you get a job or not. So you must learn in a project-based environment, which is learning by doing the job, the real job. And you must showcase your work in the form of a portfolio. Show the whole world what you can do. So let's take, for example, Victoria wants to get a job with the NHS as a healthcare data analyst. What's the best way for Victoria to learn? Victoria must learn by working as a healthcare data analyst with hospital data, medical data, and she must have evidence for working on those type of projects. And I'll show you exactly how Victoria gets to do this. All right. So when you join Tenalytics, You learn by doing the job. You don't learn by watching videos. That's the mistake a lot of people make. You watch videos on YouTube, on Udemy, try to practice what has been done, but you'd have a deficit. And the deficit is knowing how to do the job on day one. How do you work as a healthcare data analyst? How do you work as a business analyst? Have you done the job before? If the answer is no, then when you get that job on day one, you're going to struggle. Okay, so I'll show you practically how this works. So when you join any of our programs, let's take the healthcare program, okay, the health data analytics program. This is the cohort that started last month in February. So their very first Excel class, when you learn Excel, you don't learn Excel the way other people learn Excel. You learn Excel by solving real problems. You work with medical data, healthcare data, medical records, and you solve problems for medical organizations, hospitals, and so on and so forth. So this is how they learned Excel. The first Excel live class, you get to work on a project called the Medcare UK Hospital Group. They have different hospitals in London, Manchester, Birmingham, Bristol. Okay, now because they have different hospitals across multiple cities, it means they have data scattered around multiple regions. So one of their major problem is they don't have their data in a single unified location. So no single source of truth. Data is in different silos across the multiple hospitals. Now, the hospital leadership wants to know, how do we tell, or how can we tell what our revenue looks like? How can we tell the number of patients across all the different branches, all the different, regions? As a healthcare data analyst, what do? You create a database, warehouse all the data in a central location, and you start to answer and solve the questions that leadership wants to know. They want to know the length of stay of patients. They want to know the revenue contribution by the doctors. They want to see operational efficiencies across the different branches. And the only way they can do that is by analyzing all the data in a single location. So you as a healthcare data analyst would work on this project together with your facilitator in class. You're going to solve this problem using Excel. You know what the problem is, you know what the rationale is, you have your data description, and you get down to business, to working on the healthcare data. And I'll show you what the class looks like. So for anybody who missed this class, you have a recording. You can go to the class any day, anytime, come back here, watch what happened in the class on that day. Okay. And together with your facilitator, you are solving problems. So this is not you watching videos. You are solving these same problems together. You can stop and say, hey, I have a question. I tried this. It didn't work out exactly the way it worked out in yours. So you can see the data. You can see the doctor ID, the doctor name, the specialty, the branch, the years of experience, consultation fees, and so on and so forth. The difference is we've changed the name of the doctors, we've changed the names of changed the IDs, and we've changed the data so that you cannot tie any part of the data to any individual or any organization for data privacy. So you work on this type of project, and when you work on this project, what happens? You are doing the real work. The same job you do when you get that job as a healthcare data analyst with the NHS, with BOPA, with any other healthcare organization in the UK, you'll do that job while you are in class. And when you've completed this project, what happens? You'll have a portfolio. Okay, so I'll show you what the portfolio looks like. This is Victoria's portfolio. Everybody builds a portfolio. As a project manager, you must have a portfolio. Your portfolio is the evidence that you've done the job. So when you solve those problems, you build a portfolio, and this is one of the projects Victoria completed, Deep Care Hospital ER visit analysis, where she analyzed medical data to help this particular hospital reduce patient wait time by 15% and increased patient satisfaction by 20%. And anybody, the link to this portfolio would be on your CV and on your LinkedIn. So if I click on this, for example, it takes me to that particular dashboard and I can see exactly what Victoria has done. I can interact with the dashboard. If I click on this, it deselects. If I click on Q2, I want to see Q2 data. It shows me only Q2 data. And the same way I'm interacting with this, the hiring manager, the recruitment consultant would be able to do the exact same thing. So they can tell even before they get to converse or have a conversation with Victoria, they can tell that Victoria is the right person for the job. Because if we want somebody who can build a dashboard like this using Tableau, Victoria has built one. So remember, the best way to learn is not by watching videos. The best way to learn is to learn in a project-based environment where you solve problems within the sectors where you want to land a job. You learn by doing the real work. And when you've done that, you must showcase your work to the whole world. Everybody must know how good you are by building a portfolio. That's how you learn. Okay, so that's your strategy number 2. Strategy number 3, and we're going to get to the part where I'll show you where to apply. Okay, so we are looking at the how. How do you identify the career paths that are high in demand? We've looked at that. We looked at the different job boards. We looked at the World Economic Forum and the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, right? How do you learn these skills once you've decided to get into a career path? You must learn in a project-based environment. Learn by doing the real work. And secondly, build a portfolio to showcase your work to the whole world. Number 3 is gaining the experience. Now, a lot of people think an employer would hire you because your CV looks good, or an employer would hire you because you have 15 years experience in banking back in your home country, in Ghana, in Nigeria, wherever your home country is, and you think you can bring in that knowledge into a business analyst role or a data analyst role or a project analyst role or a project manager role. Employers don't care about what you tell them that you can do. They care about what you have done. And that's what we call competence. Okay? At Analytics, we have something, there's a watchword for us: competence over credentials. A lot of people make the mistake by thinking that your master's degree, I have a master's degree from the UK as well. Nobody has ever asked me. It's just somewhere, okay? It was just something I spent money on, and it had nothing to do with any part of my career. It's a feel good to say I have a master's, but it means nothing in the grand scheme of things when it comes to landing a job. That certification you have in project management, it means nothing if you cannot do the job. All right? So a lot of people focus on credentials. You chase certificates, but you don't know how to do the job. You don't have the competence. Employers don't care about your credentials because there are too many people with credentials. There are too many people with bachelors, too many people with masters. Too many people can pass certifications. If you sit down and read and prepare for a CBAP certification within the space of 4 weeks to 6 weeks, you'd pass that exam, even if you don't have one business analysis experience. So employers know that credentials are not the best measure of how you can do the job. What's the best measure? Competence, which is your what? Skills plus your what? Experience. So you must, if you want to land a job, you must always think about being at the forefront, being ahead of the competition. You can't be part of the competition, ahead of the competition, by showing that you have the experience. You've done it before, so you can do it for them. And how do you gain experience? You gain experience from the projects that you complete in class. I showed you one of the projects. I showed you how you build your portfolio to upload that project to your portfolio. That forms part of your work experience. And secondly, you get to intern with Amdari. Amdari operates out of London in the UK. So you can list Amdari as your work experience in the UK as a data analyst, as a business analyst, as an agile project manager, as a product designer, And this positions you as the right candidate for the job because the people competing with you don't have the experience, but you can show that you have experience. So once you are done with learning at Analytics, you move to your 2 month internship at Amdari, and you can list Analytics, you can list Amdari as part of your work experience. And you must always have evidence that you've done that job. And your evidence is your what? Your portfolio. These are multiple portfolios right here. Okay. If I click on this, this is a portfolio for Adiola Fatoki. It's also a data analytics portfolio. You'd see all the projects she's completed. Sales performance and profitability analysis using Power BI, PostgreSQL, Excel, and so on. These are the projects she completed in class. Projects she completed during her internship. All right. And if you scroll all the way further, you'd see numerous projects, advanced Excel, Power BI projects, SQL projects across multiple sectors. Bank fraud detection. This particular project on SQL, bank fraud detection, enabled somebody land a job as a fraud analyst in the UK. I'm going to show you his profile. So this is a project that was completed on SQL. All right. And this gentleman, Oluwatosin Ogunleye. Oluwatosin has a background in public health. He went to the UK for a master's in public health. He joined our data analytics program. And that project I just showed you, this one, the banking fraud detection and prevention project, helped Oluwatosin land his very first job in the UK as a fraud analyst. Then he moved to BNP Paribas as a senior fraud detection investigator. Currently, he's in the counter fraud compliance and debt department with the Department of Work and Pensions in the UK from one project. I'm probably going to play Oluwatosin's video if we have enough time to do that. And that's the beauty of doing the job before you get the job, working on projects, building experience before you get the job. Okay. And of course, when you join your internship at Amdari, you have the opportunity to work with some of our project partners. Okay. So we have multiple project partners that give us their data, they give us the problems, and you get to work on these problems. So these are real problems from real organizations, and you get to solve those problems to help them, solve the problem and make a presentation. And at the end of the day, you would have done the job you would do when you eventually get the real job. That's the beauty of internships and the beauty of learning in a project-based environment. And that was exactly what Pedro was getting towards the end of his visa in the UK. And you know what Pedro did? He realized that I need something more to get my visa sponsorship. And just at the nick of time before his visa expired, he got his sponsorship in December 2025. He got a role as an operations technology analyst after his internship with Amdari. Okay, so I think I'm going to play Pedro's video for maybe just 1 to 2 minutes. All right, so you understand the importance of internship and why you need to show employers that you have the experience to do the job. That's when they trust that you can do the job for them. And this is Pedro sending a message to his specialist, the coach that worked with him during his internship. Her name is Victoria. And Pedro is saying, "Hello, Victoria. Hope your day went well. I received my offer today. Thanks for all your support and encouragement." And Victoria asked him, "Hope the pay is great and hope you are good with the offer." And he said, "Yes, it's a 36% increase from my previous role. And it also comes with sponsorship." But I want you to listen to Pedro. Okay, I'm going to play maybe just 2 minutes of Pedro's video and you hear the importance of internship. Okay, and how Pedro was able to move from a non-visa sponsorship role to a role that came with sponsorship. All right, so let's listen to Pedro very quickly and I'm going to come back and I'll show you the fourth strategy you need to take note of in building your roadmap to your next visa sponsor job. And I'll show you where to apply, the platforms to apply. Practically, we're going to go to those platforms. And I'll show you why it's important that if you want to get sponsorship, you don't just apply to only jobs that come with sponsorship. Because if you do that, you limit yourself to just a few jobs. And just like Deborah at the beginning of this session that I played the video, you'd also find yourself going back to your home country simply because you don't have sponsorship. So let's listen to Pedro for 2 minutes and then we'll come back to continue.
Thank you very much, Pedro. So what specific aspect of this internship would you say helped you ace your interview?
Okay. For starters, Amdari helped. They have several services. I think the very first one I opted for was the CV rebuild. That is very, very important. And after the session, my CV got a lot better. I knew I was getting a lot more interviews, but I was really picky about the companies I wanted to join. So the CV rebuild was very, very good. And when I did get called for this interview, they also helped with interview preparation sessions. That was very good. That's put me in the right place to predict questions that were going to be asked, and that really helped to land the role. Then the experience with Amdari was amazing. I was in the SOC analysts cohort. We dabbled into several projects, ranging from SIM analysis, we're building VMs and doing malware analysis. And yes, I mentioned that during my interview, and yes, it really did help.
Okay.
So that's Pedro, who just landed visa sponsorship in December last year, just about 3-4 months ago. And if you listen to what he said, what made the difference for him during the internship, he mentioned 3 very important things. His CV. He said, because we work on your CV for you, we get your CV to the industry standard and we show you how to tailor your CV when applying to subsequent jobs. And Pedro said he started getting more interviews after optimizing his CV, after we reviewed his CV for him. And when he got multiple interviews, the second thing that stood out for him was what? The interview preparation. And that's what we do. Imagine you want to get a job, just like Pedro did, as an operations technology analyst. And Pedro has nobody. He has YouTube to prepare him for his interview, or he has Udemy to prepare him. Udemy can't prep you for your interviews. Coursera can't prep you. YouTube can't prep you. Even ChatGPT can't prep you for your interview. So Pedro had somebody who had worked in that role before. His coach, Victoria. Victoria had a one-on-one session with him, prepped Pedro for that job during his interview. He went into the room. He knew exactly what to say. He could preempt the questions that were going to be asked because we had looked at the job description and we knew exactly what to be asked. And Pedro was able to land that job eventually. And number 3, he talked about the projects that he worked on. The projects were phenomenal. And that helped him craft the type of stories he could tell during interviews. Because when you get into interviews, you'll be asked competency-based questions. Tell me about a time you've used Power BI to build a dashboard. What was the impact to the organization? Tell me about a time you've dealt with a difficult stakeholder. How did you manage the stakeholder? What strategies did you deploy? And what learnings were you able to take from that particular situation? Tell me about a time. These are questions that aim to test your competence. Have you done that job before? And if you haven't, the recruiters can see through your fluff. And immediately, once you are done with the interview, you realize you keep on getting rejections upon rejections and you don't get that job. That was not Pedro's case. He had the right CVs, got more interviews, had the right coaches, prepped him for his interviews, and he had the right stories to tell during the interviews because he had worked on numerous projects. Okay, that's very important. And the fourth strategy a lot of people ignore is any organization in the world, reputable organization, would want to validate your background. They want to know that you can do that job you say you can do. They want to know you've worked as a healthcare data analyst before. You've worked with medical records. You've worked with healthcare data. You've worked as a project manager before. you've managed projects, delivered products. They want to know. So a lot of people get jobs and they realize that I don't have references. And that's why when you list Tenalytics and you list Amdari as part of your work experience, it helps you get a job reference from us. And that's extremely important. And this is a job reference that came from the NHS, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. One of our candidates got a job as a pathology data analyst after completing our data analytics program. And the NHS reached out. Hello, Adeza. This candidate has given us the go ahead, has given us, has told us to reach out to you. All right. And we want to find out your opinion regarding his suitability for the posts. So tell us his suitability. What's the best way to work with these candidates? Can he use the tools he say he can use? Has he used Excel, Power BI, SQL, and so on and so forth? All right. And of course, all I needed to do was click on this link, filled the reference form, and he got that job. He's still on the job today. And that gentleman's name is Mawutin. Also works with the NHS, one of the NHS trusts in the UK. Mawutin, that's him right there. You'd see you both worked at Tenalytics, and he's currently a data analyst. But the actual role, the actual job title is pathology data analyst with the Southeast Hospital NHS Foundation Trust. Before that, he was a support worker. So he was a support worker. He wanted to move away from that role and he joined our data analytics program. Okay. So references are very, very important. So number one, you identify the career path you want to move into. High demand career path, eligible for sponsorship. Number two, learn the right way in a project-based environment, and you must build a portfolio to showcase what you know how to do. The quality of the project you've completed. Your portfolio is your showroom of how good you are. Number three, you must gain experience and show that you have experience in that role. If you're in the UK, you show you have UK experience. And that gives you you have a closer affinity, better affinity to the hiring manager to land that job, because you would stand out as one of the candidates with the right skills and right experience to get the job. And number four, you must have a reputable organization that can vouch for you. If you don't, you'd always struggle to explain to recruiters that you have what it takes to do that job. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the different career paths and the skills you would learn, the tools and the technologies you would learn before you can get a job in those areas. So if as a business analyst, what do you need to learn? As a data analyst, what do you need to learn? So when we look at that, we'll come to different platforms. I'll show you my favorite platforms and the platforms that would land you sponsorship jobs the fastest. Some of them are paid platforms. Some of them are free platforms. And I'll show you a strategy that a lot of people ignore. And it's a strategy that costs people not to get jobs, and they have to go back to their home countries simply because they were focused on only one type of job, and that's the visa sponsor job. But how do you focus on other areas and still get sponsorship? So I'd walk you through that. All right. So let's get right into the different career path. As a business analyst, what does it take for you to land a job? Who is a business analyst and what do they do? Okay. A business analyst is someone who helps an organization identify problems. You help the organization improve processes and implement solutions. So let's take, for example, a hospital wants a better patient management system. So currently, the hospital is very manual. You go into the hospital and you have to fill papers, okay? So you have to write your details on a sheet of paper and so on and so forth. So they want a platform, a tool, a software that is fully automated, so they have a better patient management system. As a business analyst, what do? You'd first of all analyze the current process. So how are things currently done? What are the inefficiencies and where are the gaps? You'd have a conversation, you'd meet with the different stakeholders, you'd meet with the doctors, you'd meet with the nurses, the hospital administration, the hospital leadership to understand the issues with the current problem. Is the current problem, do we have long wait times because we have a manual process? Do we lose patient records because our records are in paper format and so on? You want to understand the problem. And when you understand the problem, what do? You gather requirements. Okay, so you document everything that needs to be on that new system. So when we build our hospital management system, what must it have? Oh, it must have something for appointment booking. Patients should be able to go online and book an appointment without even having to come to the hospital. We must be able to track patient records. So we must have what? Patient record database. So you would gather all the different requirements. What do we need to have on this platform? Once you've done that, you would take those requirements and you will give them to the technology team, the software developers, the team that would build the software for you. Because as a business analyst, you don't build the software yourself. The team would build the software and you would work together with the team to ensure that the software that is built, the application that is built, meets the hospital needs. All right? When the software is ready, you'll be part of the team that will test and confirm that it works properly before it goes live. And you would champion the implementation within the hospital. So you transition from paper to what? A software. So you are going to roll out communications, you would roll out training, and you'd help the hospital move from a manual process to what? A digital process. But you see the way you start. Your typical activities would involve talking to stakeholders, running meetings, workshops, documenting processes, requirements, creating process maps, supporting project delivery. So you must have some level of project skills. And that's why you're going to learn how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL. You'd learn process mapping, how to map out processes from start till finish using tools like Lucidchart, Draw.io. You'd learn project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum for projects, and the software development lifecycle. Because you'd support the team, you'd work with the team in building those software and application, even though you don't build it yourself, but you'd work with them. You'd manage the project to ensure it gets to its full completion. You'd learn requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis, and ChatGPT for the business analyst. These are the set of skills you need to have. The mistake people make is, and I've seen this so many times, Adeza, as a business analyst, I don't need Excel, I don't need Power BI, I don't need SQL. That's a very, very big mistake. Big mistake. And I'm going to show you some jobs. We'll go on job boards. I promised I'm going to show you that. Where can you apply to jobs? We're going to go on job boards and I'll show you jobs, business analyst roles, and you see how important these requirements are. So that's for the business analyst. Let's go to the Agile Project Manager for those who want to get into Agile Project Management. Now, because you've learned Agile Project Management does not mean that you can only get a job as an Agile Project Manager. No. You can get a job as an Agile coach, project analyst, project manager, Scrum Master, and so on and so forth. And who is the Agile Project Manager? An Agile Project Manager is somebody who leads a team to deliver projects on a step-by-step basis while adapting to change. Okay, so one of the things the project manager does, the Agile Project Manager, is instead of planning everything, the start and finish of a project, they start in bits and pieces called sprints. Okay, so your team would build and improve on the first step. You build the first thing, you move to the next one, you build the second one, and by the time you build you're completed with all the different sprints, you'd have completed the entire project. And I'll give you a very easy scenario, okay? So let's take your banking app. Let's say you bank with Revolut or you bank with Lloyds Bank, all right? And Lloyds Bank wants to build a new mobile app. What would the Agile project manager do? Rather than having everything that app needs to have or planning the entire feature of what the app needs to have, the Agile project manager would do what? Would start that app in small working versions so that in the next 1 month, we can deliver something. In the next 2 months, we can deliver something. So let's assume that the banking app needs to have 5 features, okay? Feature A, B, C, D. Let's say 4 features. And feature A is what? To have a checking account or a savings account. So let's say checking account. Customers should be able to open checking accounts. That is one of the features. The second feature is customers should be able to send international transactions or carry out international transactions. The Agile project manager does not start from the beginning and complete everything from A to D. They take the first feature, the first sprint, and do what? They build that. They deploy. After deploying, they get feedback, they make it better, and then they move to the second sprint. That's the Agile methodology. Breaking the work into small tasks, splitting the project into smaller deliverables so that the team can complete them in short cycles, usually within 2 weeks or thereabouts. Okay. So, and part of the things that the Agile project manager would do is you define the goal of the project, you break it into small tasks, you plan each task, each sprint, you coordinate the team, you remove obstacles that the team would face, you review the work that have been completed, improve on the process, and so on and so forth. Just like the business analyst, as a project manager, Agile project manager, you don't need prior work experience. You don't need prior knowledge, prior understanding. Every single thing, you would learn that during the program. Okay, so these are programs that are for the beginners. It does not require coding. It doesn't require anything, mathematics, coding, and the way people think getting into tech is always about coding or writing scripts and so on and so forth. Okay, so as a business analyst, if you've done something in business administration, you have a background in customer service operations, you have a background in banking, consulting, in marketing, you can get into business analysis. As a business analyst, you are somebody that would lead from the front. You can't hide behind your screen. Okay, so you're going to interact with different stakeholders, internal and external, and so on and so forth. Same with the project manager. Okay, so as a project manager, if you have a background in planning, administration, in operations, you have, you've done some level of consulting. Okay, you've led a project in any way before. This is a career path you can easily get into and thrive as an Agile project manager. Okay, so before I move on, I want you to type into the chat. If you see yourself as a BA, type BA in the chat. If you see yourself as an Agile project manager, type APM into the chat. Before we move to the next career path, type BA or type APM. Okay. Charles says BA. Francis Baba says BA. Nancy APM. Fantastic. Surface wants to do both BA and Agile project management. That's fine. Okay. But you always want to start with one and then you can move into the other one. Okay. But when you combine two career paths together, you stand the chance of not, completing any one of them. Mutiu says APM. Ola says BA. Fantastic. Frema says BA, brilliant. So now we know what the business analyst does. We know what the agile project manager does. Let's get into health tech. The healthcare data analysts. Okay, what do they do? What does the healthcare data analyst do? The healthcare data analyst is a professional that helps organization. They use data, medical records, hospital data, healthcare data to help medical organizations make better decisions. All right. So they take patient records, disease trends, healthcare costs, hospital performance data, and they analyze that data to help the hospital take better decisions. For example, a hospital wants to understand why the patient wait times are very long in the emergency department. The healthcare data analyst would take the hospital data and identify when does the hospital receive the most patients, what time, what day of the week, which departments are overburdened, how long do patients have to wait before seeing a doctor. So they take the data to analyze that data and show what the data says, the insight from the data, so that the hospital leadership can take decisions. They can see exactly what is going on, not from an individual opinion, but from a point of data, the data-driven point of view. All right. And professionals who want to get into this career path, if you are a professional with healthcare background, so you've worked as a nurse, a care worker, a support worker, a physician, a medical doctor, you have a master's in public health, you've done anything related to health, pharmacy, biological or medical sciences, this is a fantastic career path for you, especially if you're in the UK. It's one of your fastest ways to getting a job, one of the fastest ways to getting sponsorship. Most of the people I've shown you today, if you notice, something is common. Sharon, she was a healthcare assistant with the NHS. She's now a business data analyst with the NHS. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. Now she's an information analyst with the NHS. Ramat was a customer service professional. Now she's a business architect with the NHS. Toyin was a pharmacist back in Nigeria. Now she's a pharmacy data analyst with the NHS. Health tech, technology roles within healthcare is exploding. And 2026, the number of roles available, the number of people that will get jobs will be unprecedented. So you want to get into this career path if you find yourself here. And if you're somebody who has no experience, it doesn't matter. What you would learn is you'll get to learn all the things required to understand both the domain knowledge and then the technology skills. So you'd learn problem solving, Excel for health tech, SQL, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, generative AI for health tech using ChatGPT and Microsoft Fabric. You're going to work on a minimum of 10 projects, 10 healthcare projects during your learning. And then you move into your internship where you'd work on more collaborative projects. As a health tech professional, you'd work with a data engineer, a cybersecurity professional, you'd work with a business analyst, and you solve a common problem. Right? If you see yourself in health tech as a healthcare data analyst, type HDA into the chat, HDA into the chat. Just type HDA if you see yourself. Bridget, Ibrahim, fantastic. Oluwafemi, Omowumi, Alexander, Faturoti. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Nonso, Dolakbo, absolutely phenomenal. The salaries are also great, especially looking at the different roles. And like I said, I'll show you where to apply to these roles and the platforms that have helped our participants land jobs and why our participants keep on getting jobs every single day. Okay, so let's move to the next. And I'm going to move a bit faster. All right. So you have data analytics. The data analytics career path is very similar. The tools and technologies similar to health tech. Okay. The difference is, as a data analyst, your focus is not on analyzing medical records or healthcare records. You'd analyze different types of records. You'd analyze customer data. You'd analyze sales data. You'd analyze research data. You'd analyze marketing data. Okay, different types of data sets. However, as a health tech professional, healthcare data analyst, your focus is on hospital records, medical records, medical data, and so on and so forth. But at the core of what you do the same thing. The data analyst is anyone who uses data to help organizations make better decisions. The health tech professional is anyone who uses medical data, specifically healthcare data, patient records, to help medical organizations make better decisions. So you can see the difference. One focuses on health, the other one focuses across multiple sectors. So as a data analyst, take for example, you work with Marks and Spencer, and Marks and Spencer wants to know which product generates the most profits and which of our stores perform the best in leads. So as a data analyst, what do? You gather the data across all the Marks and Spencers in leads, and you start analyzing for the top selling products, the low performing stores, the seasonal sales trend, the customer buying patterns. You start to analyze these data to help the leadership understand which product generates the most profits and which store performs the best. And to do this, you need to understand problem solving, Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, ChatGPT for analytics, that's generative AI for data analytics, and Microsoft Fabric. All right. So the data analyst I can work in retail. I can work in Marks and Spencer. I can work in different organizations. I can work with River Island. I can work with Primark. I can work across retail. I can work across banking, financial services. I can work across automobile, and so on and so forth. Okay. But the health tech professional works within healthcare organizations, health insurance companies, healthcare systems, health tech companies, public health companies, and so on and so forth, like the NHS, public health organizations, and so on. All right. That's the data analyst. So for somebody who is getting started, you don't want to think about writing complex codes, learning how to code and learning all those complex stuff. You want to get into a career path that is high in demand and would enable you land a job very fast. You want to get into data analytics. All right. And it doesn't matter your background. I studied industrial chemistry. I became a data analyst. My first job was management consulting. I became a data analyst. Okay. And the same way I've shown you so far, from strategy 1 to 4, was exactly what I did. And that's the model that's helped thousands of professionals to make the same transition. So if you see yourself as a data analyst, type DA into the chart. DA into the charts. Nonso wants to be everything. Nonso wants to do health tech. He wants to do data analytics. I see you, Nonso. That's interesting. Regina, DA, Rufus, DA, Franklin, DA, Ibrahim, DA. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay. The data analytics role is a fantastic role. All right. Let's move on to the financial analyst and the HR analyst. The financial analyst and the HR analyst are both data analysts. The only difference is the financial analyst focuses on financial data, while the HR analyst focuses on HR data. But they both have data analytics skills. So as a financial analyst, what do? You are someone who analyzes financial data, financial records to help companies make better financial decisions. Simple. So a company wants to decide, should we invest? They have their headquarters in London. They want to know, should we invest in Doncaster? Should we invest in Edinburgh? As a financial analyst, what do? You take the financial data and you do what? You analyze what the expected cost would look like. What would the potential revenue look like? You build financial models. You carry out cost benefit analysis. You look at the market demand and the financial risk involved, and you help the business make a decision. As a HR analyst, what do? You are simply a professional who uses employee data, HR data, to help the organization make better decisions relating to the workforce. For example, a company notices that many employees are leaving within the first year. So 1 year after hiring, they leave. So you want to know, what's the problem? The HR analyst would take the hiring data, employee exit surveys. They want to look at the salaries and benefit information and look at turnover across different departments. Analyze that data to identify, is there a particular manager, a particular department, a particular salary range? Is there a particular recruitment channel responsible for employees that leave after 1 year? Perhaps those that come in through LinkedIn or those that come in through a particular recruitment consultant tend to leave after 1 year. So you can identify those insights by analyzing the hiring data, the employee exit surveys, and so on and so forth. So you're a data analyst. The difference is, as a financial analyst, you focus on what? Financial records. HR analyst, you focus on employee records, hiring data, HR data, and so on. So as a financial analyst, you learn problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL. These are your data skills. Then you move into accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and generative AI for financial analytics using ChatGPT. The HR analyst would learn problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. These are your data skills. Then you move to the core HR areas, HR analytics and performance evaluation, HR metrics and lifecycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and report automation, building your case and creating action, and generative AI for HR analytics using ChatGPT. So if you're somebody who has a background in HR, psychology, organizational behavior, business administration, customer service, you can fit into a HR role because you have people skills. You don't need to have a background if you don't have one. You can build from the scratch. You're going to learn the domain knowledge, you learn the metrics, the KPIs you need to track, and you know exactly what the HR analyst does when they get a job. Okay. And for those who want to, go for the financial analytics program, if you have a background in finance, accounting, economics, banking, business administration, investment analysis, or you just want to transition from where you are to a financial analytics career path, you can start from the ground up. All the curriculums are designed with the beginner in mind. So you don't need to worry. If you don't have experience, you can get started. And we move to the last but not the least, the product designer. Okay, so who is a product designer? What does a product designer do? I didn't ask the question. For those interested in financial analytics, HR analytics, if it's financial analytics, type FA, HR analytics, type HA. Kanye FA. Let's get more feedback. Mutiu HA. Okay, interesting. HAFA, financial analytics, HR analytics. Let's get more feedback. And then we move to the last career path for today. And then we'll go to job boards where I'll show you where and how to apply to jobs. Where do you find these jobs? Especially those that come with sponsorship. And I'll show you how to start today, what you need to do to get started today. Charles also selected financial analytics. Okay, so now product design. Who is a product designer? A product designer is responsible for how a digital product works, how it looks, and how it feels. Let's take, for example, we are currently on Zoom. Every single feature on Zoom, where the mic is, if you want to mute and unmute, I can put off my video, I can put it back on. Every single thing you have on Zoom, how the boxes are structured, the size of each button, every single thing you see here today was designed by somebody called a product designer. They are also known as UI UX designers. All right. So think of them as somebody who decides what you see and how you interact with an application or a website. Okay. They ensure that the user interface, the experience is top notch. All right. So they build and work on different products, from your mobile apps to your websites, software platforms, and so on and so forth. Okay. Let's take, for example, a company or a hospital wants to build a mobile application for booking doctor's appointments. All right. So what would the product designer do? They would understand the user needs. So from a user point of view, if Nonso wants to use this particular application, what would he expect to see? Okay. The product designers would design the app, how the app should look, how the users would move through the app, and ensure that the app is simple enough and intuitive to use. You don't have to teach people how to use it. They know exactly what to do because it's intuitive. That's the role of the product designer. So every app you see today, the look and feel of that app was built by a product designer. All right. So if you're somebody who is in graphics design, you have some creative skills, you're an artist. Okay. You are somebody who has a flair for designing. You draw things, you do makeups for people. You have a flair for colors, a flair for design. You are particular about how certain things look, how they should be arranged. An interior decorator. You have that type of flair. Product design can be a fantastic career path for you. Okay. It's non-coding. You don't code anything. You use different tools like Figma, Notion, Framer to build the UI, the user experience, and so on and so forth. So you learn user experience foundations and research. You learn usability testing, portfolio, and AI in product design, different things within that space. You learn how to build wireframes, visual designs, and prototyping of the different platforms. And you'd learn how to do that using Figma, for example. You'd learn how to do that using Framer, Notion, and Claude, which is a generative AI tool you would use in product design. All right. And these are the 7 different non-coding career paths you want to consider. Okay. And what's the structure of the program? 6 months learning, 2 months internship. And the classes are structured in a way that it doesn't matter where you are. For those in the UK, every Saturdays you have a class from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time. And for those in the US, Canada, you have a class dedicated to your time zone, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So it doesn't matter where you are, you have a class that is flexible to your time zone. And for those in the UK, if you're not available in the morning at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., you can join the class for those in the US and Canada, which would be roughly 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. your time. So if you're not available in the morning, you can join the class in the evening for those in the US, for those in Canada. So you have that flexibility. And you also get access to your classroom, lifetime access to your classroom. So it's a combined 6 months learning, 2 months internship, 8 months learning. But what we've seen, just like the stories I've shared with you, Ikmat got a job in about 3+ months. Tony got a job in about 2+ months. Same with Ramat. And the reason is we don't wait until you complete the program. The moment you learn a couple of skills, we push you to start applying to jobs. If you're in data analytics, healthcare, health tech, the healthcare data analytics program, once you've learned problem solving, data, Excel, and SQL, we push you to start applying to jobs. So you'd see organizations that require the level of skills you have at that time, and you apply to those jobs. We prep you for your interviews, and that's where you start to see opportunities. All right. So these are the career path and the skills you need to get into this career path. Now we move to the final part of our session, which is the where. Where do I apply for these jobs? Adeza, how do I get these sponsorship roles? Where do I apply? All these professionals that have gotten jobs, where did they apply to jobs? Okay, so I'm going to share a couple of roles, a couple of job boards. We'll check out some roles. Because of time, we might not be able to go through everything, but I'll show you the job boards. Like I mentioned, some of them are free, some of them are paid, some of them you get access to them within Tenalytics and Amdari. Okay, so we call them the exclusive job boards, and these are job boards where at Tenalytics we scrape different job boards that are paid, the paid job boards, where you have to pay to gain access. But we know that you don't want to pay to get access to these jobs. So we pay as an organization, we scrape these jobs, and then we send them to you. So you go ahead and apply to the jobs that come with sponsorship, remote jobs, and so on and so forth. And I'll show you what that looks like very quickly. So if you're in one of the classrooms, for example, all right, under your important materials, you'd see something called job offers. If you click on job offers, it takes you to a spreadsheet where you have jobs posted every single week. And you'd see, does it come with sponsorship? True, true, true. You'd see true, true, likely, likely, true. The ones that come with sponsorship, you clearly see them. And you start from here to start applying to these jobs. Okay, the one that was sent last week, you see that as well. Does it come with sponsorship? Yes, 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 yes. And you start applying to these jobs. And you get jobs across multiple regions, remote jobs in Canada, in the US, across the UK, and visa-sponsored jobs. So we vet these jobs ourselves to be sure that these are the type of jobs you can get. And that's why our candidates don't compete on the normal job boards, the free job boards on LinkedIn, read.co.uk, CV Library. Those are platforms millions of people apply to. So you have exclusive access to the Tenalytics job board. When you get into your internship at Amdari, you also have access to the Amdari job board. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay. So I'm going to log into my Amdari account. And I'll show you what the job board. So everybody, when you get into your internship, you join the internship management system. This is what it looks like. All right. And you click on job board. It takes you to the Amdari job board. So you see the jobs that come with what? Visa sponsorship. You see that at the top right corner. So I want to apply to a job as a business analyst. Okay. I'll type business analyst. And it's going to filter the jobs for me to see business analyst jobs. And I can select if I want to see jobs in the UK, US, Canada, Europe. I can check that right here. This is not available to the public. It's only available to those within Amdari. Once you've done your 6 months with Tenalytics, you get access to Amdari for your internship. So you have access to these job boards. At Tenalytics, you have access to the job board we provide to you as well. So you start applying to jobs. And these are jobs your counterparts don't have access to. So before people apply to those jobs, you would have applied well ahead, and you get the unique opportunity of landing more interviews. Okay. So this is a school, for example, offering sponsorship for this role. If I click on apply, it's going to take me to the job, that particular vacancy. And I'm going to wait. Let's see what pops up. Let's see what the job looks like. While that is loading, we can check for more roles. We can check data analyst. Okay. And you see different data analyst roles that come with what? Sponsorship. Visa sponsorship. All right. Let's click on this one, for example, to see. So this is a data analyst role. The salary is within £44,000 to £47,000. The interview would start from 20th to 27th of April. So they are still accepting, applications right now. Okay. So you can go to the summary of the role, what the role entails, and so on and so forth. All right. And this is the business analyst role. So it's an IT business analyst role. You can go through the job description. You'd see what the job entails and so on and so forth. And these are the type of jobs you have access to start applying. So these are exclusive job boards. I've shown you Tenalytics. I've shown you Amdari. I can come in here. I can type project manager. Okay. And I see project management jobs, about 984. And I can start checking for the roles that come with sponsorship. The ones that don't have sponsorship, you won't see that at the top right corner. So the ones with sponsorship, you'd see them at the top right corner, and you can start applying to those jobs. Okay. Now you have other platforms. I've shown you Tenalytics. I've shown you Amdari. You get access to these platforms once you join any of the programs I've shown you so far. Okay. And you also have access. We get jobs from these platforms. UK Visa Jobs, for example, is a fantastic platform, but is a paid platform. You have to pay to access. So what we do at Tenalytics is we pay, we scrape the jobs from there, and we share them with you. So you go ahead and apply, and you get access to jobs that your counterparts don't have access to. So these are the exclusive job boards. You always start from here, number one. Once you are done applying to the jobs here, you go to the general job boards. And there are a couple of them: NHS jobs, health jobs, remote rocket ship, and Hanam. These are some of the amazing platforms that I love to recommend. Okay. I'm just going to go to maybe one or two because of time. But again, you have, you can see the link right here. You can click on any of them. So make sure you fill the attendance so you have access to my slide and access to these platforms. So if I click on health jobs, for example, it takes me to some jobs within healthcare. And I know my focus is on getting the health tech jobs. All right. So I come here, I can type data. Show me data analyst roles within the healthcare space. And I search for these roles, and you start to see different jobs. Okay. So you see the data analyst role, data analyst, business analyst, pharmacy services, advanced analyst, data migration manager, senior information analyst, and so on. And you can start applying to these jobs. Business analysts, and they're phenomenal jobs you can apply to right here. Okay. Another platform I want to also show is NHS Jobs is one that you'll be very familiar with. Okay. But I'm just going to click on that. Let's just have a look and see what it looks like. Okay. So go to search. I want to search for what? Project management roles. Project manager. You can search for any type of job and you see different jobs pop out. Okay. Sustainability project manager, digital and data project manager, quality improvement project manager. And these are the type of jobs you can apply to. 9,293 jobs found for project manager. If I change this to a financial analyst, okay, 1,373. I can change this to what? Data analyst. 2,947 jobs. And you can see the jobs available that you can start applying to. Okay, so it's also a fantastic platform. Another one is Hanam. Okay, I might not be able to get into this. Another one is remote rocket ship. Here you find a whole lot of remote jobs. Okay, a whole lot of remote jobs. So if you come to remote rocket ship, for example, you want to select the United Kingdom. So I'll come in here, select United Kingdom. I want to search for jobs, show all filters, okay? So also show me jobs that come with sponsorship. So I'm going to click on UK skilled worker visa, show me jobs that come with sponsorship. There are about 2,053 jobs available. You can start filtering with what? The job titles. Okay, you can start filtering with the job titles and you see the jobs available. All right, let's just type business. Okay, let's just see what pops out. So you start to see different jobs: technical business analyst, lead business analyst, technical business analyst, and you can start to apply. Okay, you'd see it says what? Job not on LinkedIn. So these are jobs you're not easily going to find on other platforms, but you find them here. So they are exciting job boards you want to apply to. Okay, so I'm going to write number 2. Once you are done applying to the exclusive jobs, you move to the general job boards. And then I come to the strategy that is absolutely important. Okay, I'm going to walk a little bit fast, but I want you to follow me. Now, this strategy is called Stoop to Conquer. And it's a strategy that says, I'm not going to apply to only jobs that come with sponsorship. So I've shown you exclusive job boards for visa sponsored jobs, general job boards where you can get visa sponsorship. But now, the mistake Deborah made at the beginning of my session today was, I want only visa sponsored jobs. And she didn't get any. She had to leave the UK back to Nigeria. So in your own situation, what do? You also deploy a strategy called Stoop to Conquer. That's what we call the strategy at Tenalytics. And what's the strategy all about? You apply to jobs in companies that have the license to sponsor. Okay, so the job vacancy doesn't say this job comes with sponsorship, but you know that this company has the license to sponsor and they have given numerous sponsorship already the previous year. For example, I can know the licensed sponsors, the list of licensed sponsors, and it's available. If I click on this, it takes me to the gov.uk website and I'll see the registered, licensed sponsored list. And I can simply come in here and download. It's a CSV file, it's a spreadsheet with different organizations, the type of license they have, and so on. And from there, you can pick them one by one based on your city and where you stay and check if they have jobs. But I've done that heavy lifting for you. I've extracted the jobs, the companies that are the best companies for you to apply to. And I'll show that slide. It's in one of my slides. Don't forget, if you want to get the slides, all the materials, fill the attendance form. Okay. So you can start from here, download the list of registered sponsors. And more importantly, you want to know, have they sponsored before? How many sponsorship have they given? So if I have two potential employers, okay, I'm considering employer A and employer B. Employer A in 2025 issued 15 COSs, certificates of sponsorship. Employer B issued 1,000 COSs. Between employer A and B, who do you think would easily give me a COS? Employer A or B? Just type into the chat, A or B. Who do you think would give me a COS easily, A or B? Ibrahim says B. D says B. Oyindamola says B. Absolutely. And the reason is because employer B has no issue issuing COSs. They have no problems issuing COSs. But employer A seems to take their time in issuing COSs. So what I want to do is target those employers, potential employers that would give me COS easily. They have the license to sponsor and they also issue COSs easily. So if you click on this link, you can check some of these companies. All right. It brings you to these websites and you'd see different organizations, about 62,000 plus, and you see the number of COSs they've issued. Proforce, 8,512. Fruitful Jobs, 8310. Tata Consultancy, 6928. And you can go on and on and on. Cognizant Worldwide. You can check Cognizant. They've issued 1,948. I can go to the next page, check for the different companies. Like I said, I've done the heavy lifting for you, and I'll show you the list. Okay? You check all the different companies. Ernst & Young, 1329, Deloitte, JP Morgan, and so on and so forth. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to do it, how to pick one of these companies and use them and search for jobs. Okay? Jaguar Land Rover, 1,065. So let's take Jaguar Land Rover. And for a lot of people thinking, oh, can I get a job in Jaguar Land Rover? Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things we put in you when you join Analytics is we give you the courage to apply to jobs you never thought you could apply to. One of our participants got a job in Jaguar Land Rover. His name is Adebisi. What's his first name? Idris. Idris Adebisi. Idris Adebisi, you'd see you both worked at Analytics. We pushed him to apply to this job. Okay? You can see data engineer with Analytics, and he got a job with Jaguar Land Rover in Coventry. He moved from this role. We prepped him for the interview for the next role. We provided his reference for the next role, and he got his second job as a senior analytics engineer with QuantSpark in London. So he worked with Jaguar Land Rover before moving to the new role. He currently works with QuantSpark. So you can also apply. Okay, and Jaguar Land Rover gives what? COSs easily, 1,065. So this is what you do. Let me show you how you search for jobs. Okay, so I'm going to go to Jaguar Land Rover's website. Okay, so I'll type Jaguar Land Rover. Jaguar Land Rover, and I'll say careers. Okay, Jaguar Land Rover careers. You can do this on Google or you can do it on LinkedIn. Preferably, you want to do it on Google because sometimes the job is on the website, is not on LinkedIn. Sometimes it's on LinkedIn, is not on the website. So always try, both. So Jaguar Land Rover careers, I'm going to go there, open that, and let's see the jobs they have available. Okay, let's see the jobs they have available. Okay, so I'll go to find the job and I'll go to search jobs. So always go to the career page. So find the jobs, search for jobs. All right, so let's search for the jobs they have. So I can scroll all the way down, see the jobs. I can see different locations. All right. So what I want to do is I just want to search for a keyword. So let's search for any keyword. Let's say we're applying to, let's just type business analyst and search. Okay. So what do you see? They currently have a senior project analyst supply chain role, Wolverhampton, a manufacturing data analyst role, also in Wolverhampton. So if I'm in data analytics, I can apply to this job. If I'm in project management, I can apply to this job as a project analyst. If I'm in financial analytics, I can apply to this job as a financial modeler. Okay, and you can see these roles. You can click on it, see what the role entails, and you start to put in your application. Now, what do? The job doesn't state that it comes with sponsorship. It doesn't. You apply, you get the job, and after getting the job, what do? You give Jaguar Land Rover 200. Sorry about that. Okay, you give Jaguar Land Rover 250% of your dedication. You show them that you are the best manufacturing data analyst they've ever hired. You show them that you are the best project analyst they've ever hired. And if they lose you, they'll be losing a talent. You are always on time. You are always punctual. You are delivering on your responsibilities And if you've been told to do A and B, you do A, B, C, D, and E. You give them everything. And then you make a request for your sponsorship. That's the strategy called stoop to conquer. You stoop. You don't say anything about sponsorship if they don't ask you during interviews. You get into the company, give them everything you have, and you make your request. At that point, they'll realize that what does it take for us to give you sponsorship? What? We've given over 1,065. Let's give you, a COS. It's not a problem at all. We don't want to lose you because you are a talent. That's the strategy a lot of people don't take. And they find themselves in situations where they only apply to visa sponsored jobs and they really would not get that visa sponsored job. Okay, so always try different strategies. Try to land a job first of all, and then you make your request for sponsorship. And finally, applying to recruitment agencies. There are so many of them. I just listed a few and I've kept the links right here. Okay. So Robert Walters is a very good one. Michael Page. You go to Michael Page, upload your CV, create a profile, and you indicate you want jobs that come with sponsorship. And when they have one, they will reach out to you. Also remember that you must search for the recruitment agencies near you. No matter where you live in Bradford, you live in Doncaster, you live in Leeds, you live in Manchester, recruitment agencies close to me. You'll see that on Google. Visit their offices, let them know what you're looking for. And when roles are available, they will reach out to you. These are different strategies you can deploy. The strategies our participants have deployed, and this has enabled them to land jobs beyond and above their contemporaries. Okay. And here I have all the companies within the different industries, the different sectors that you can start to target. Okay. You can start to target. Under manufacturing, for example, you'd see Jaguar Land Rover right there. It's a fantastic company to target for sponsorship. Right. So I've done all the heavy lifting for you. Take all these companies, go to the website, go on Google, Jaguar Land Rover, P&G Careers, go to University of Manchester Careers, the NHS, Manchester University NHS Trust, Careers, and so on. Look for these jobs, go to NHS jobs, and so on and so forth. And you start to see, go to NatWest Careers, go to Lloyds Banking Group Careers, and you see these jobs. These are companies that have the license to sponsor, and they don't have issues giving you a COS. Take advantage of that. All right. Once you've done all of this, what we help you do at Analytics, including everything I've said so far, we help you build your skills. We help you build your experience and your employability. People build their technical skills and they forget employability skills. Where to apply, how to apply, the right CV, the right LinkedIn, and so on. And we show you the winning strategy that has worked for over 4,000 plus people. So you take that strategy, it's tailored to yourself, you apply those strategies, and that's where you start to get those opportunities. So you learn, you join one of the programs, you focus on them. What do you do next? We help you gain work experience. We help you with your CV. We optimize your LinkedIn profile. We show you how to build a portfolio. You join our mentorship sessions. When you have interviews, we prep you for interviews. How do we do this? Very simple. For everybody who's joined Tenalytics, you have access to something called the Learning Management System. Okay, so you have access to your learning management system. So apart from Saturdays, when you join a live session with a real person walking you through problems, solving problems together, any other day, on a Sunday, a Monday, a Wednesday, you can log into your dashboard, go to the program you've registered for. Say you've registered for business analysis, go to continue learning. It takes you to your classroom and you can start learning.
What is obtaining?
Okay, you can start learning at your own convenience. All right, this business analysis program, for example, you are taught by Vera. Vera is currently a senior manager, a team lead at Deloitte. a team lead business analyst at Deloitte. And these are the quality of the type of facilitators that would walk you through, help you solve problems, you work together. So you can watch your videos any day, anytime, anywhere on this platform. And this is your LMS. If you have an interview, you go to your dashboard, all right, and you'd see where you have interview preparation. Just come in here and click on schedule interview. You fill all the details, the link to the job you've applied to. You copy and paste the job description, upload the CV you've used to apply, and then you book an interview prep session. Somebody will join a call, work with you, prep you for that interview, and you go in knowing exactly what to do. All right. You'd have the opportunity to join all the mentorship sessions. Okay. You have the opportunity to join all our mentorship sessions across different topics. You learn LinkedIn optimization, how to utilize AI for job applications, how to navigate the job market, and so on. So you have two platforms, the one for your live class and the one for the self-paced. The self-paced any day, anytime, anywhere. The live class on Saturdays, you join a class with somebody like myself, a professional who would walk you through everything you need to know to get started in that career path. And when you get that offer, we provide you with a job reference. When you get the job and there's something that's a bit difficult for you, we work with you on the job ethically. Okay, we don't go past the bounds of ethics. We work with you to ensure that you don't contravene the data privacy policies in your organization, but we ensure that we help you understand the right questions to ask, how to approach that project that seems a bit difficult when you get the job. And of course, we show you where to apply, how to apply. The moment you join, you send your CV to us. We work on that CV. We optimize your CV for you, and we show you how to tailor your CV. Okay. So if you go to your important materials, you'd see where upload your CV for revamp. So once you upload your CV, we get that CV, we update it to the industry standard, review, update, optimize, and then we show you how to tailor your CV. So when you're applying to jobs, you don't take one CV and apply to multiple jobs. You take one CV and apply to one job. We show you the best platforms to apply. I just showed you a few today. And the best part is you have access to the paid job boards through Tenalytics platform, Amdaris platform, and we make this available to you. And these are the things you need to land the job. All right. So as we get to the end of our session today, there's so many other success stories. I can keep going on and on. Esther was a care worker. Today, she's a contract project officer. She joined the Agile Project Management Program in April last year. And by July, she had gotten a job with the civil service in the UK as a contract project officer. She was still in the program when she got that job. And that's because we always advise to start applying early. Rita joined our data analytics program. This is a screenshot showing us when her skilled worker visa was approved. And she also got her sponsorship. We have Mary. Mary got a job as a business data analyst with NatWest. She sent us a screenshot of the approval from the Home Office when she got her skilled worker visa approved. And she's on a pathway to sponsorship to ILR, by 13th of March, 2030. All things being equal, hopefully the new changes coming up does not impact those already in the UK, those already on their pathway to ILR, and so on and so forth. And of course, you have Mawutin. I showed you Mawutin's profile. He got a job as a pathology data analyst with the NHS. Gad was a mechanical engineer, and today he works with the NHS as a data warehouse and ETL developer. He was a student, just like so many people, but he knew that he needed more. He joined our data engineering program, and January last year, he landed a job with the NHS as a data warehouse and ETL developer. You have Tosin. I showed you Tosin's LinkedIn. Tosin is a gentleman who got a job as a fraud analyst from somebody who had a public health background, currently works as a fraud analyst, also on visa sponsorship. You have Sonia. Sonia works, she moved from BAT to a different other company working as a HR business partner after completing our HR analytics program. This is Idris, who got a job with Jaguar Land Rover after completing our data engineering. This is Chika, who landed a full-time job as a financial analyst in the UK after completing our financial analytics program. And there's so many. I can go on and on and on. But I promised I was going to tell Ramat's story. Ramat, the customer service professional, who is now a business architect with the NHS. I'm going to play about 3 minutes of our video, and I'll come back and tell you, how do you start today for those who want to get started? And I have an amazing offer. Amazing, the best offer you would ever see in 2026. I have an amazing offer, especially for the ladies. So if you're a lady and you're on this call, you want to remain on the call, I have a massive offer for you, and I'll come back and show you what that offer is. But in the meantime, let's listen to Ramat. Let's hear her story. How did Ramat transition? And what can you learn from Ramat's story? And I'll come back and show you how you can also get started. Okay? So sit back, relax, enjoy Ramat's story for about 3-4 minutes, and then I'll come back and show you how you can also start your journey into any of these career paths.
No, I came in as a dependent to my husband. He was a student, so I was dependent at the time.
How was your journey? How did it start? I hear that coming in as a dependent is not that easy. Having to find a job. What kind of jobs did you even start with?
Well, to be fair, it was quite good for me because I didn't have to do care, but I know so many people that had to do care, warehouse, and all of that. But I started as a customer service rep for British Gas. So British Gas is like an energy providing company that's based in the UK. So suppliers of energies and gas. So I was working with them as their customer service rep, answering calls, queries about the product and services they offer. So that was what I did for about a year when I got here until my breakthrough with analytics.
I'm very interested in that breakthrough. Tell me about that breakthrough. How did it start? How did you hear of them? And what gave you the conviction to try them out? What is your experience like?
Okay, let me start from how I heard about them. So I was talking to my cousin. My cousin is in the UK as well. She did data analytics with analytics. So I was telling her, because I was on mat leave at the time, and I didn't just want my mat leave to just go like that, being that I wasn't even really interested in the customer service role. I wanted to be more. So I talked to her and said I was looking at doing something like around business analytics. That if she know anybody, any edu company just like analytics that I can enroll with and all of that. And she said, oh, that's really good, because she just finished a data analytics course with analytics and all of that I would really enjoy them. She mentioned Adiza. She mentioned a few people from Analytics that really helped her during her own time. I was like, is it really good? She was like, it's really, really good. And then she said there used to be a master class that I can attend that and just hear from them first before I fully enroll with them and all. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. She sent me the link to the master class, and then that was it for me. Like, I didn't even have to think twice. Immediately I did the master class, I enrolled immediately because I knew this was what I wanted. They were just spilling it. Adiza was the one, I remember. It was the one that held the master class with one other person, and it was telling us all the benefits, all the things that we will learn in the space of about 3 months, how it will be practical enough to carry that knowledge into our job. Like, when we eventually land the job, that's enough experience. And to be honest, it was practical enough because that was all that helped me. So that was how I began my journey with analytics. I enrolled with them and started around, it was around April, if I can remember correctly, April 2023.
Okay, will you drop in the link?
That was when I started with analytics. And it was supposed to be 3 months. 3 months, 1 month for the theoretical aspect, and then I think 2 months for the practical. You have like a group where you practicalize all the things that you've been taught. They give you a project, they assign a project to your group, and then you partake, you do all the things that you would actually do on the job, you do it with them. So that took about 2 months or so. But I tell you for a fact, I started immediately after my first month with them. I already knew what I wanted, so I started enrolling for jobs and all of that. I'd not even finished my practicals before I got a job as a business analyst in one of the trusts in NHS. And that's where I still work currently. So it was that good. It was that good. All the things they taught us, all the practicals that I started to learn like bit by bit, because I already mentioned that I haven't even finished. So that was what I put into CV, into my supporting statements. And the good thing, what even crowned it up for me was when I got the interview, I told Adeza about it, and then there was a proper prep, like interview prep that I did that just prepped me comprehensively for the job. It was one of the facilitators in charge then that just prepped me, and then that was it. I got in there and smashed it, and I got the job.
All right. So that's Ramat. Okay, I talked about Ramat's story earlier. And for those of you that remember, Ramat was in customer service. Today, Ramat is a business architect. And she said a couple of very interesting things. And that's Ramat right there. Okay, phenomenal professional. She works with one of the NHS trusts, former customer service to business architect. And everything I've shared with you today, if you listen to Ramat, it was practical. I did the job before I even got the job. I had somebody have a proper interview prep. So I knew what I was going to say. My supporting statement during my application, I knew what to put simply because I had all the right support. I knew what to do and so on and so forth. That's the level of support we give to you. All right. So we've said so many things today, from getting into a high demand career path to how you learn the skills, gaining work experience, having a reputable organization that can provide a reference for you, to where to apply to these jobs and how to apply. You can't stay where you are. Listen to all of this and remain where you are. For those of you that want to land jobs in 2026, a visa sponsored job, this is the best time. There's never going to be a better time than the month of March to get started. And I'll show you the reason why. Our next cohort starts on the 4th of April, 2026. The March cohort started today, the 7th of March. The next cohort starts on the 4th of April, 2026. And I have an amazing offer. First of all, for the ladies, and that's simply because we are currently in the International Women's Month. Okay, so all the programs I've shared with you so far have a massive 50% off. Okay, massive 50% off. And we only have slots because the slots are very limited. We had sponsorship from one organization that always sponsors the International Women's Month for us. And we have 300 women, scholarship for 300 women. Okay, 50% scholarship for 300 women and 100 for the men. And the reason why we do this is very simple. Within the tech ecosystem, women are underrepresented. You have only 25% representation, 25 of women within the tech ecosystem. Okay, so we are doing our own part, playing our own part to get more women into tech. Ramat that you just listened to was a beneficiary of this discount when she joined. Ikmat, the stay-at-home mom, the lady, was also a beneficiary. So it was deliberate that I played the videos of the ladies that took a step, they took a leap to take advantage, get their journey started And today they work in amazing organizations, amazing career path, doing very well for themselves. So all the career path I've shared today, the non-coding career path, 7 of them, the health tech, data analytics, business analysis, financial analytics, agile project management, product design, HR analytics. If you're interested in any one of these, rather than paying $1,250, you get to pay a whopping 52% off. You get a 52% off and get to pay just $600. It only happens one time in the month of March, and it's not for everyone. Okay, it's not for everyone. The moment we get to the maximum, we close the number of slots and it's off. And all the fees go back to the original fee. So there is never, I'm going to say it again, there's never going to be a better time to get started than today. Okay, now that's the first offer I have for you. And I'm going to show you how to start, how to register for those of you interested. The second offer are for those who want to start, but they want to start early. You don't want to wait until the 4th of April. And what does this mean? You want to start joining our mentorship sessions. Okay, so first of all, you join something I call the Founder Circle. The Founder Circle is where you join a session with myself, the co-founder of Tenalytics, and we help you create a roadmap. We show you the roadmap from where you are to where you are meant to be, the career path you want to get into. You have the opportunity to ask tailored questions, and we provide that to you. All right. For those who also register today, between now and the end of Sunday, before Monday, you also get access to the weekly mentorship. So our mentorship sessions happen on Thursdays in the evenings between 9 to 10 p.m. You would have access to the mentorship. You don't need to wait until the 4th of April. From next week, Thursday, you start to get access. So you have the opportunity to start to learn from industry experts in the UK, in the US. You join interview simulation sessions. You see how people answer questions and so on. And you don't need to wait to start. You start immediately. We also have a session coming up, an exclusive session for those looking for alternative pathways to visa sponsorship. For example, one of them is the Global Talent Visa. Okay, so if you are looking, you don't know what it entails. You don't know what the Global Talent Visa entails. You don't know how to get endorsed by the Tech Nation. You don't know how to get endorsements if you are in arts and culture. Would show you how it's done. Would also provide a reference letter for you as part of your supporting documents, one of your piece of evidence that you need for the Tech Nation endorsement. And finally, you would have access to lifetime interview prep. And what this simply means is, even though you are done, you've gotten a job, but you're moving to a new role and you need support in prepping you for interviews. We keep on prepping you for interviews, even if it's in 2030, 2027, 2028. Whenever you come to us, you have access to your dashboard, you book an interview prep, and we will still prep you for interviews. You have lifetime references, lifetime mentorship access as well. Okay, so just like this gentleman I showed you earlier, Idris, he took advantage of this. Idris joined us at a point and he got a job with Jaguar Land Rover, but he wanted to move from that role to another role. He came to us, we prepped him for the interview for this role, and we provided a reference for him to get this job. So you also have access to this. We call it the front of the line advantage. This is only open to the first 20 people to register, not to everyone. So even though you take advantage of the discounts, the IWD discount, where you get, instead of paying $1,250, you get to pay just $600, and you can break your payment into multiple installments. The first 20 people would get front of the line advantage. You join the Founder Circle. You start your mentorship sessions from next week. You have lifetime career support. Even though you've gotten a job, you want to move to the next role, you need interviews, we'll be there for you. And you also join our exclusive Global Talent Visa session. One of the best things you want to do All right. So if you are somebody who wants to get started, you know this is what you want to do. You want to get a job in data analytics. You don't want to wait like so many people, the mistake people make until it's too late before they start aggressively applying to jobs. You want to start today. Okay. So while you are reading this, a lot of people are already taking advantage. My colleagues have pasted the link in the chat, but I'm going to show you how to start and get started. Okay. So for those of you ready to start, how do you register? Oh, I'm interested in data analytics. I'm interested in data science. I'm interested in business analysis. What do I need to do? Okay. So I'll show you what the platform looks like, how to register and get started and take advantage of the massive discounts that we have for you. All right. So when you click on the link my colleagues would show you, the link you'd have on my slide is going to bring you here. You'd see all the courses you can take. So let's take, for example, I'm interested in data analytics, or I'm interested in health tech, or in business analysis. I can click on any of these programs, okay? And I click on enroll now. The moment I click on enroll now, it takes me to the page and I can start to create a profile. So I'm just going to wait for it to load. I click on enroll now again, and it takes me to where I can make my payment. All right. I'm going to change the currency to USD. I'll change it to pounds. So I'll walk you through exactly how this plays out. Okay. Now, for those of you that want to start in April, this discount is only applicable for those in April. If you want to still join the March cohort, the cohort that starts in March, then you'd have to pay the full amount. You don't have advantage of the International Women's Month discount, okay? So, but if you want to start in April or you want to start in May, you can take advantage of the discounts, all right? And you want to register, make your first installment so that you secure your slots and you don't wait until the slot is gone and it goes back to the original amount, okay? So let's say I want to start in April, the next cohort coming up. You can either make a one-time payment of $600 or you can pay in 3 installments of $200 per month. So I want to take advantage today, register, book my slot. I want to pay $200. And if I'm going to pay in pounds, I can select the currency here, change it to pounds. And all I'll need to do is to pay £153 today to get started. Or I can pay a one-time payment of £459 instead of almost £1,000. So that's a massive discount for you. All right. So you select your preferred option. So say I want to pay in 3 installments, pay £153 today, secure my discount, secure my slots, get the front of the line advantage. From next week, I can start joining the mentorship sessions and so on. Okay. So you select that, you confirm your information is correct. You confirm you've read the terms and conditions and you click on pay now. Okay. Now, for some of you that have selected the multiple installments, perhaps your salary doesn't come in on the 7th of April because you make your first payment today. The next payment comes in on the 7th of April. The next would come on the 7th of May, but salary comes in later. Maybe you get your first bi-monthly salary maybe on the 15th and on the 20 something, or you get your salary on the 25th. You can always change it from here. So let's take, for example, I click on change. My salary comes in on the 22nd. I can select 22nd and click on save. So I make my first payment today, but my second payment would come in on the 22nd of April because that's when my salary comes in, for example. Okay, so I click on pay now. I confirm all my details. And I click on pay now. All right. Now, before you pay, I have an active payment plan. That's simply because I'm using the same account I've used to log in before. So what I'm going to do is I'll use a different account. Okay. I'm going to use a different account so that you'd see exactly what you'd see when you also get started. So I'll use a different account. This time around, I'll go to health tech And I'm just simply going to create a new account to register. And you'd see exactly the same thing you'd see when you're also registering. So click on enroll. I hope it doesn't have the same challenge again. Okay, I know what I'll do. I'll use a different browser. Just give me 1 second. I'll use a different browser to do this so that we are all on the same page. All right, so all courses, health tech, select health tech, enroll now, and it will ask for your details. So I'm going to enter my full details, enter my email, and so on. So I'm going to use an email from here. So you enter your email, enter your full name, and this would give you access to a profile. All right, so I'll use an email I've not used before. Enter your phone number. Please enter a phone number that's going to be verified. It's very important you confirm that the details are correct. I've read the terms and conditions. You click on sign up. Okay, this creates an account for you. The moment you create an account, you can then select your installments. I want to start in April. I want to select the 3 installments. I want to pay in pounds, which means I pay £153 today. All right. My next payment, I want it to come on the 20th or 22nd because that's when I get my salary. Click on change, select that option, click on save. Confirm your information is correct, read the terms and conditions, and click on pay now. It would ask you to confirm your information, okay? Once you confirm that, you click on pay now, and it takes you to the checkout page on Stripe. For those of you connected to Link, you can pay using Link. And you make your first payment today. Okay, so I'm going to enter card details. Okay, and then once I'm done, so I enter my name, Adeza Suleiman, postcode. Okay, select my postcode and I click on pay. So the moment I click on pay and my payment is confirmed, what happens? It takes me to where I complete my profile. I'm going to confirm my email. All right. So your email will be verified using an OTP. So you go to your email. If you don't see the OTP, please go to your spam. Check your spam folder. All right. So I'd go to my email and I'll simply check for where I have verify and I'll see my OTP 823328. Okay, 823328. So I verify my email and this gives me access. Select my country, United Kingdom. Okay, select your gender, male, female. I'll select male. Your preferred time. Okay, so what time do you prefer? I want to join the classes 11 a.m. UK time. How did you find out about us? I saw you on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. I saw you on, any platform. Okay, check the options, select the preferred option. All right, enter an alternative email if you have one. What made you register? Testimonials were great. I see a pathway to success. I really want to land the job. Select why you registered. How much time do you want to commit? I want to commit 4 to 6 hours per week. Okay. And I click on complete setup. At the moment you do this, what happens? It takes you to your dashboard. You get to upload your photo, your LinkedIn profile, you connect that to your LMS, and you start your onboarding process. This is how you get started. Okay, this is how you get started. So the moment you click on start learning, it takes you to where you start with your onboarding. The tools and the technologies you need to download, you do that well ahead of time. On the 4th of April, your class would start. But for the first 20 people to get started, you will have the opportunity to join the front of the line incentive where you start your mentorship from next week, Thursday, and you have access to the mentorship, to the founder circle, to the Tech Nation session, and you also have lifetime access. That is only available to the first 20 people to register. All right. I can see a lot of activities on the platform. As usual, a lot of people registering. One of the big mistakes people make is they come back and say, hey, I missed out on the discounts. But unfortunately, we have limited slots for the IWD scholarship. All right. So you can take advantage of that. What does the mentorship entail? Fantastic question. The mentorship is one of the best things you want to participate in. Okay. I would like to play a video for you to answer that question, to hear from someone like yourself that registered for one of the programs and what she had to say about the mentorship. So it's a session where we bring industry experts. So let's take, for example, you've joined the health tech program. Okay. You are in the UK or in the US or in Canada, but you've never worked in health tech before. So you want to interact with health tech professionals, people that have done that job and are the peak of their position, and they can guide you, answer questions, and literally hold your hands and showing you the mistakes they made. You don't make those same mistakes. During the mentorship session is where we push you to apply to jobs. And a lot of people have imposter syndrome. Unfortunately, especially the ladies. The ladies want to wait until they meet 100% of the requirements of jobs before they apply. The ladies you've seen here today, we push them to apply. They know they have to apply, even though they only meet 60% of the requirements. So they give themselves a fighting chance. They go ahead and they get interviews. We prep them and they get the job. You get that level of motivation from the mentorship sessions. We also carry out something called interview simulation. Okay. So I'm still going to play that video for you, for the person who asked the question, because it's very important. And then I would also show you one of the classrooms, for example, the class that started, the health tech program that started in February. They've had about 4 mentorship sessions. The most recent one was an interview simulation. Okay. Another one is you must get a job. Application strategies that actually get you interviews. This was a session held by the co-founder of Tenalytics. And I'll show you what that session looks like. So if you miss the session, the recording is always there for you. So this was a mentorship session held by Femena, the co-founder, walking you through practical steps. If you see the topic of the mentorship session, you must get a job. So the things you must do with your CV, how to use an AI tool called CV Matchly, which you're going to have on your dashboard. If you go to your dashboard, you'd see the CV Matchly AI. You get access to this AI tool. It's a tool built in-house. It's an AI tool built in-house to help you tailor your CV. So you don't need the headache of doing the tailoring yourself. So that's what the mentorship looks like. So Efemena, he's worked in Ireland, he's worked in the UK, he's worked for companies in the US, he's currently in Canada. You learn from his wealth of experience. This is part of the session in mentorship. Okay, another session in mentorship, how to diagnose a company, okay, and win the interview. This was taken by the VP operations, our COO, Chief Operating Officer, walking through what you need to do to stand out during interviews. So the mentorship sessions are tailored towards one thing and one thing only, to ensure you get that job. All right. So I don't know if I answered that question from, I think it was Busola. I'm going to play a video on the lady that got that contract job as a contract officer, not a contract job, rather. She got a job as a contract officer, contract project officer. Her name is Esther. I held a mentorship session where I told my story on how I transitioned. And that was the motivation she needed to start applying. And that was what enabled her to get this job. So the value you get is not just your skills, the skills you come to learn, the experience you come to gain, but the mentorship alone is absolutely phenomenal. I can tell you that for free. All right. So I'm going to take more questions. We have about 26 payments coming so far. Okay. You want to take advantage. Make sure you register. So we have across different programs. All right. You want to take advantage. The program you've decided to register for, ensure you are one of the first 20 people to do that. Rufus is asking, I want to confirm if this package is different from the last meeting. What last meeting is that? Okay, my colleagues have answered the question in the chat already. Let me check more question. Can I register between Monday and Tuesday? You can register anytime, iPhone. The difference is the discounts might not be there anymore. The scholarship might not be there. And you'll definitely not have access to the front of the line advantage. Okay. Can someone join the internship without the course? Yes, you can, ON. Just go to amdari.io. Okay, amdari.io. You can join the internship without the course if you already have, skills in that area. So what you want to do, ON, you can send a message. One of my colleagues would reach out to you because we can't identify your name with ON. All right. So we can reach out to you, guide you on how to do that, and so on. Let me see. How do we change course? If you want to change course. Okay, so if you want to change course, that's very straightforward. Just make sure you've registered first of all. Okay, make sure you've registered. Once you've registered, on your dashboard, you'd see something called switch/defer. Switch/defer. So even after you started for 2 weeks, you still have the opportunity to switch. So take, for example, I've registered for health tech, but I want to do data analytics, or I want to do business analysis. And I decide 2 weeks after starting health tech, I can still switch. But after 2 weeks, you can't switch anymore. Okay. So if you've registered, you've gotten access to the dashboard, just come in here, click on switch, and you can either defer or you can switch. If I click on switch, continue, I select, fill all the details, somebody would approve, and they would switch you into the program you want to get into. Okay, I hope that answers your question. So I'm going to take you, somebody asked the importance of the mentorship. And apart from all the things I've said so far, I want you to hear from somebody like yourself. Okay, so one of the things you want to do is you go to the YouTube page, you have access to that, go to YouTube, search for Tenalytics, and it takes you to the Tenalytics page. Click on the logo, and here you get to listen to amazing professionals that have done the things you are looking to do. All right. So I'm going to click on Tenalytics Alumni Success Stories. 2 people I want you to listen to. A 60-year-old man that transitioned. He used to work with the civil service in the UK. He currently works with the Home Office. He joined our business analysis program and he transitioned. He landed a new job, even at the point of retirement. About to retire, he transitioned into a fire data and safety analyst role after completing our business analysis program. But I want you to hear what he said about the mentorship. All right. So I'm going to skip to that part. Good. I'll skip to the part where he talked about the mentorship. Okay. Just because of time. Okay. So I think it's from here he started talking about that. So let's listen to this amazing professional, a 60-year-old man who is now working with the Home Office as a fire data and safety analyst after completing our business analysis program. Hear what he has to say about mentorship.
Where I have to give Tenalytics their flowers, where I dove my hat off to them is in the mentorship and coaching session. It is top notch. I have to say special thank you to Efemina and Adeza, because they take your journey personally. It is personal to them. They want to ensure that you succeed. So right from the 4th week, I started applying for jobs. As and that time we've only done Excel, Power BI, and SQL. In fact, we've not even started SQL fully. But in the mentorship section, they keep telling me, just apply. When you see the job, you see the essential, all the criteria they put in there. I was told that it's all a shopping list. Don't discourage yourself. Don't disqualify yourself before the recruiter disqualify you. Because if you say, oh, I don't have everything, and then you don't apply, you're only knocking yourself out. So they drill that into me. And in the mentorship and coaching section, they are bringing people from the industry, people who are working in there, and they are giving us tips. And I mean, the optimization of the CV, linking and everything, that is powerful. It's top notch. But I also have to give special flowers, special thank you to the person who prepped me for my interview, in the person of Joshua Akinola, who is the head of the BA program. Thank you so much. He believed in me much more than I believe in myself. And he's telling me, just apply for the position. Go for it. I'm sure you can do it. You've got the industry knowledge and everything. And because...
Okay, so I'm just going to stop there. All right. It's a 5-minute video. You have access to watch amazing professionals. Okay. Like this gentleman who transitioned at the age of 60. Esther also said something phenomenal about the mentorship. The mentorship was what encouraged her to apply, because I gave my story during the mentorship. And for those that join, you get to hear my story as well. My transition into data analytics. It's always inspiring. And it's something that if you hear that story and you've not been applying to jobs, you'd start that same day, that same minute to start applying. That was exactly what Esther did. And Esther was able to transition. So if you want to listen to Esther, her video is somewhere here on our YouTube in the alumni job success. That's Esther right there. Okay. How I secured a contract management role after training with Tenalytics. She spoke about mentorship a whole lot. So let me take more questions and see, for those that have questions, can a data analyst get a role in health tech? Absolutely, you can. All right, you can. However, the health tech professional would have worked on more healthcare related projects than you. Okay, because one of the major differences is that as a health tech professional, your focus is predominantly centered around healthcare. Yes, you'd work on projects in other industries, so you have a diverse, broad knowledge and understanding. However, just a few industries outside healthcare. Your major focus would be on healthcare. But as a data analyst, you'd focus on different things. You'd focus on different types of data sets, different industries, different sectors. So you'll be able to do the type of job the health tech professional would do. But if you compete with a health tech professional, somebody who has done health tech at Tenalytics, and somebody who has done data analytics, if you compete for a health tech role and you are in an interview, the interviewers would tell clearly that that person that did health tech has more experience than you, and that might knock you off. Okay, so those are the things you want to consider. So yes, you can. However, you'll be deficient in some level of skills compared to the health tech professional. Dolakbo is saying, I've just registered, but I don't know if I'm one of those. You would enjoy, don't worry, Dolakbo. As long as you've registered, you will be a part of that. Okay. As I'm filling the form, which one do I take? Okay, what form exactly are you filling? Can a business analyst work in the healthcare sector? Absolutely. I've given you so many examples of business analysts. The lady I played her video for you, she's a business analyst. She did 100% business analysis with us, and she's currently in healthcare. Let me see if I can bring that up again. Ramat. I played Ramat's video for you, right? Ramat did business analysis with us. Business analyst consultant. But the interesting part, and this is where the mentorship also becomes very important. A lot of people think, okay, because I've done business analysis, I can only get a job as a business analyst. No, you can get a job as a business architect, just like Ramat. Ramat got a job as a business architect with the NHS healthcare, but she did business analysis. As a business analyst, you can get a job as a change management analyst, a process analyst, product reliability engineer, so many roles, different roles. This is just naming a few. So because you've done business analysis doesn't mean that I'm only going to apply to business analyst roles. No. One of the first things we guide you on is you have a breadth, a massive, latitude to choose from. Okay. We show you the breadth and the diversity of the, career path you've just learned and the type of jobs you can apply to. So, and that was exactly what Ramat did. So she didn't just go out there to look for business analyst roles, business architect, change management analyst, process analyst, product reliability engineer, and so on and so forth. Those are business analyst related roles. As a data analyst, you can work as a business intelligence analyst, as a market data analyst, as a business data analyst, as a BI developer, as a sales analyst, so many other roles, product analysts, and so on and so forth. Same as a health tech professional. You can work as a healthcare data analyst, as a pathology data analyst, healthcare data and reporting analyst. Okay. There are so many other professionals I did not share because of time. For example, this gentleman in the US, he was a teacher back in Cameroon. Today, he's a healthcare data and reporting analyst. That's his job title. Healthcare data and reporting analyst. Okay. And these are roles within health tech. This other gentleman got a job as a pathology data analyst. So because I've done health tech doesn't mean I can only get a job in one particular area. Or because I've done agile project management does not mean I get a job only as an agile project manager. I can get a job as an agile coach, as a scrum master, because the agile methodology is centered around the scrum framework, the Kanban, the lean framework, and so on. So you understand the scrum framework, and this means you can get a job as what? A scrum master as well. Okay. So let me see. Let me check more questions. Okay. Adiola is saying, me too. I want to be part of the Founder Circle. Absolutely. And I look forward to meeting you, Adiola. So part of the things you get in the Founder Circle, let me tell you some of the benefits of being a part of the Founder Circle. And this is not everybody gets this. Okay. So if you're not part of the Founder Circle, you don't get this. After we've had a session and we've shown you your journey, your roadmap, we also provide you with a personalized job pack. In that job pack, you'd see the type of jobs you can apply to, where and how to apply to